What else we broke? Salvation. Hey, you got many mansions. Think about salvation, get the danger. My flesh vain, it's my heart not trouble, I will pain. We trust in Abba, he the one that kill your problems. We thinking Abba, now we know about the lava. The streets of gold, walking on that road, I can't sell my soul. Hell no, I'ma be the light everywhere I go. Ain't no vaccine up in the temple. The devil know that the most I dwelling in you. They trying to shoot you up, that should really offend you.
My cry for mercy as I call on you for help, as I lift up my hands towards your most holy place. I just wanna be worthy. I just wanna be
Shabbat Shalawam, Shabbat Shalawam, the water for tuning in. Let's give all praises, honor, glory, esteem to the Father, YAHAWAH, the Ancient of Days, the Giver of Life, our Father, our Abba, YAHAWAH, and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushai, who the world calls Jesus Christ, Hamashiach, the Anointed One. The water for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Shalawam, shalom, peace and blessings to all of the Ahchyam, all of the Ahchwathyam, the brothers and sisters scattered across the four corners of the earth, I should say. This is what we'll be going into today, right? So we say Shalawam, peace and blessings, and thank you for being here on this beautiful Shabbat day. As you can see the title, right, what we'll be going into today is judgment and what else? Resurrection. Judgment and resurrection. What will happen when the people will rise and resurrect? That's what we'll be going into today. It's going to be kind of long, but we're going to get into it, right? The water for everybody being here, the family, Jenny Wood, Chapter Man, Shalom, Shalawam, and anybody else that may tune in at a later time and watch this at a later time, we say Shalawam, Shalom, peace and blessings to you. The reason I felt like we needed to do this because a lot of people believe in the rapture. A lot of people don't believe in the judgment, or they don't think about the judgment, or from what I've been told, from what people say, they just don't read about the judgment because they don't want to hear about it or know about it. Whether you want to know about it or not, it's still there, right? And whether you believe or not doesn't mean that it's not there. You could believe it's not a stop sign. That doesn't mean when you walk to the corner that there's not going to be a stop sign, right? So you could believe anything you want in your mind and in your head. That doesn't mean that it's not true. So today we'll be going into that. Once again, peace and blessings to everybody. Hope you're having a beautiful Shabbat day. Remember, the Most High woke you up this morning. And every morning, Lamentations 3:22 on down, I always say this. Every morning, you have another chance. You have mercy and compassion from the Most High. So let's get started. Let's dive right into the scripture. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 9. That's where we're going to start it off this morning. Hebrews chapter 9. And if you have your Bible or laptop or Chromebook or whatever it is that you have, please pull up your Bible app, the Blue Letter Bible, or if you do have a physical Bible, use that. Hebrews 9:27 is what I'll read for you. So as you can see it on the screen, it says in the book of Hebrews, chapter 9, verse 27, and it is appointed unto a man once to die, but after this, the judgment. Everybody that lives on this earth, all the 8 billion people, however many people it is, every individual knows inside of their heart and inside of their mind that they're going to die one day. They may not think about it. They might not want to process it, but it is going to happen. And everybody we know, from our kids, from our parents to our grandparents, uncles, cousins, friends, they are all going to die. So this is what it means when it says it's appointed. That is appointed to you from the day that you come out of your mother's womb. There is a date that's appointed to you already, predestined, a date for you that you're going to die, right? That's why it says that. Then it says after you die, that's the judgment. So when you die, then you go into what? A judgment. Then it goes in verse 28. So Hamashiach was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation. So when you really think about it, take the time, really look at what's being said here in verse 27 and verse 28. Let's get another one of the classics that I like to go to, Romans chapter 6. Romans chapter 6, and we'll stroll all the way down, right? Romans chapter 6, and I want verse 23. Actually, I'll read 22 and then 23. You give me 1 John 3 and 4. That's where we're going to go next. So Romans 6 and 22, it says, but now being made free from sin and become servants to the Most High, you have fruit unto holiness, and the end, everlasting life. Verse 23, for the wages of sin is death. See, nobody wants to talk about this part. Nobody wants to talk about the judgment, the wages. Wages is something that you get paid back or something you get paid for. So he's just paying us back for the things that we have done in this body. You can't blame anybody else for the things that you have done because you know right from wrong. Just like I know right from wrong. So I can't sit and point the finger at anybody for the things that I do now. I understand through the scriptures and through the spirit that it's not really me who's doing it. It's the evil of the flesh that I have on me. And the flesh we know is what? It's wicked and it's weak, right? The spirit is always willing, but the flesh is always weak. So you have to overcome that flesh. And that's what the whole fight is about. That's what the whole thing is about. This is why the Bible always speaks about overcoming. He that overcomes shall inherit what? Everlasting life. You have to overcome the flesh. For the wages of sin are death, but the gift of the Most High is eternal life. All praises be to the Father. It is eternal life. But the gift of the Most High is eternal life through YAHAWAH HaMashiach, our APBTTTMH, right? Our master. So the only way we can receive the eternal life and the gift of it is through who? HaMashiach YAHAWAH, who in English, the people will say Jesus Christ. Why? I just read it back in Hebrews. If you were listening, for he was offered once for what? Our sins. I just read it in Hebrews. If you need to go back, go back. So like I say, this is what we'll be going into. You got that 1 John? Let me pull it up. And we have to understand why, as it says, we are getting wages for our sin. And what is sin? So we'll go to 1 John chapter 3 to understand what sin is and why we're getting paid these wages. And it results in what? Death. This is why everybody on earth dies. Go ahead.
1 John chapter 3 verse 4.
Yeah.
Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
So that's what sin is. Sin is the transgression, meaning you break. You have broken something. So when we break or go against the very word of the Most High and go contrary or go opposite, that's breaking his laws that he has given us, that he has given to the children of Israel. That's what sin is. I know some people will say missing the mark or this or that, and people kind of create what their sin is. But sin is actually breaking the Mosaic law that was given to the children of Israel. That's what sin is. And it's been since the beginning, right? It's been since the beginning. So like I say, today we'll be going into the judgment, the resurrection, and what happens when the dead rise. That's what we'll be going into today a little deeper. But I just wanted to touch on those things real quick. So I'm gonna play. Do I want to play the video right now? Let me see. Let's go to Genesis real quick, and then I'll come back and I'll play the video. Let's go to Genesis chapter 6. Now in Genesis chapter 6, it says, the Most High saw that wickedness of the man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of his thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. Now, when we think about the heart, does the heart have memory? I'm asking you, do the heart have a memory? What holds your memory? What holds the things that go on? Mind. Great. You have ears, correct? And you have nose, eyes. Do you see with your eyes? Do you see with your, do you hear with your ears? You smell with your nose. See, that's what we believe. But in all actuality, we what? We use our mind. Whatever hits your eardrum, it goes to your mind, and your mind processes. And then it tells you exactly what it is. It's almost, what do they call it? Everything is happening so fast to where I'm speaking, and as I'm speaking, it's hitting your drum, but the brain is telling you all of the words and everything that I'm saying so you can understand that sentence. You can understand what's being said. So the brain is really working, controlling what? The whole body. This is why the Bible emphasizes so much about renewing the mind, in the mind, in the mind. In the Bible too, they call it the heart. You know, they say the heart is deceitful, right? Jeremiah. But really, is it the heart or is it the mind? You know, it's the mind, really. So this is why the Most High in Genesis 6:5 is saying what? All the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and every imagination, everything that he was thinking, everything of his thoughts, of his heart, because he loved to do them, was only evil continually. And it repented Yahawah that he made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. The same way a father would be grieved or be upset with his son, you know, that went off and went astray and did some other things and was just living completely evil. And they knew better, but they just chose to live completely evil. Listen to what it says right here, not to dwell on it. I don't know. I'll do the first part. Because the Most High just said he saw the wickedness of man and that it was great in the earth. But the second part is what we really got to get into, because it says that every imagination. You remember, and I'm asking anybody, chat or anybody here, you remember before Sodom and Gomorrah got destroyed, who was having a conversation with Hamashiach Yahawashi? Does anybody remember that conversation? It was Hamashiach. Who? Abraham. And in that conversation, Abraham kept saying, if you find what, 50, you're not going to destroy it. It got all the way down, I believe, to what, 10. He said, if you find 10 good people, and Hamashiach said, if I find 10 good people, I won't destroy it. But it wasn't that. So they still destroyed it, correct? Here is letting us know that every imagination and the thoughts of the hearts was only evil continually. That means there was no good people. There was nothing good. There was nobody even trying. They had just been taken over and given over to the wickedness. You know, you could be in wickedness but still be trying. You could be in wickedness but want to do better. That's like a crackhead. They want to get off of crack. They want to get off of crack, but they still on crack. You get what I mean? But they want to. Like they always say, if you need help, if you want help, let us know. They tell women that too in battered relationships. If you want help, the help is here. But it's up to you to let us know and make the call, and we'll come help you. But it wasn't none of this here. It was only wickedness. And then it hurt the Most High in verse 6. It repented him, meaning it hurt. Verse 7 says, and Yahweh, let me go up a little bit. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man. Here it is. Here's the decree. I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. Well, here's your judgment. Here's your judgment. Yeah, there was a judgment in the garden and all those things, and then they were cast out. But here's another judgment. He says, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth. Both man and beast and the creepy things and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. Now, did the beast do anything? Did the creepy things do anything? The fowls of the air do anything? Why are they getting punished also? Can anybody answer that? Why are they getting punished here in verse 7 when they didn't do anything? Nobody? No? Well, let's look at it one more time. Let's look at it one more time. I'll read it again. Verse 7. And Yahweh said, I will destroy man. That's the first judgment, correct? Whom I have created from the face of the earth. Then he's going to go into great detail. This is why you have those two marks right here, right behind earth. And it says both man, beast. Now he's elaborating, telling you who it is that he's going to destroy. And then right here at the end, it says, for it repenteth me that I have made it them. Was Adam not given dominion over the fowls of the air, the creepy things, the beast? So if you have dominion and you have control over something and I'm punishing you, is everybody else going to feel the repercussions or just only you? Everyone. And that's what happened. But it says in verse 8 that Noah found grace in the eyes of the Most High Yahweh. Verse 9, it says, these are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations, and Noah walked with the Most High. So it wasn't just enough for Noah to have to save the world at that time. It wasn't just enough. Did his sons believe? Huh? No. They didn't. Noah believed, but not necessarily his sons. All his sons didn't have faith in the Most High. We know that because later on they started to do things when they got off of the boat. Right? But Noah found grace. So because Noah was a righteous man or a just man, as it says, the Most High extended something to his three sons. He didn't have to. He could have just said, Noah, you and your wife get on the boat with the animals and that's it. But he extended it to his sons. knowing that his sons didn't really believe in him, but it was one son that did. But he still spared those other two sons, and they became what? Does anybody know? Ham became, and Japheth became what? He said, you will serve the brother, right? He became the brother's servant because of what he did to his father when he went in there. Looked at him making mockery that he was naked, right? Well, that's a whole nother thing. But I just want to really, with all that said, I just wanted to show in verse 7 that this was one of the first judgments other than the garden, when they came out of the garden for man. And this is why he destroyed the earth. Of course, we know this is going into destroying the earth with what? Water. Fire is coming, but this time he had did water. But the fire is coming, right? And we know that all the way you can go. This is the thing about it. You in Genesis, when he destroyed the earth, when he's telling the man that he's going to destroy you and all these things, you can go all the way from Genesis to the New Testament, which we'll do. Let's go to 2 Peter real quick, chapter 3. To see that judgment is from Genesis all the way to the New Testament. It's the same judgment, the same exact judgment. 2 Peter chapter 3. Yeah, it grieved him much, chapter, man. It really did. It really did. We're going to be in 2 Peter chapter 3 for those that are reading along and have their Bible, laptop, whatever it is that you have. I'll give you a second to get there. 2 Peter chapter 3. We'll start at verse 3, where it says the coming day of our master, right? For those who may not know the word Lord, that's what it means, master. 2 Peter 3:3, it says, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts. So we know Peter right here is warning us and telling us that something will occur in the last days. The first thing that he's telling us is that there will be what? Scoffers. What is a scoffer? Can anybody tell me? I would like to know exactly what a scoffer is.
Mocker.
Somebody who mocks. Okay. You have anything?
No.
And then it says walking after their own lusts. Let's get the correct definition of scoffer. Right? Scoffer. It says a person who mocks, which you are correct, ridiculous, and treats belief, people or ideas with intense contempt. So basically, like my son was saying, they're mocking, ridicule, and they treat people a certain type of way. So whatever it is that you do, they're mocking you, right? Just like they mock Hamashiach Yahushua when he was hanging on the tree. Those are what you would call a scoffer. People come in the chat and they scoff, right? But we just want to make sure that we have the right information that we're putting out. And then after that, they're going to walk after their own lust. What does it mean to walk after your own lust? Meaning anything in their mind that comes to mind, that's what it is that they're going to do. They have no boundaries. Anything, any lust that comes into their heart and comes into their mind, really, they're going to walk after it. That's what the Most High is saying through the Spirit, through the Rakah of Peter. Verse 4, and saying, where is the promise of his coming? Peter's going into great detail right here to let us know what's being said. Where is the promise? People say that today, 2026, and have been saying it for thousands of years, right? Have been saying it for thousands of years. Chapter man says, hecklers. Gone. You know, That's exactly what they are. Hecklers. So then it says right here, let me go over a little more. For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. So people believe and feel that since the beginning, thousands of years ago, the world has been the same, the sky is the same, the sun still comes up, the moon, the stars, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is why it's so important to read these things. Verse 5, for this they willingly are ignorant. So those people are ignorant when they make those type of comments. Don't get upset when you try to explain to people about these type of things. Don't get upset because they are ignorant, as Peter is saying. And I understand that it's okay. It says that by the word of the Most High, the Shemayams were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that was then was being overflowed with water perished. Right? That's just what we went into just a minute ago in Genesis 6, when he said he was going to destroy the world at that time. With what? Water. This is what Peter is talking about. So Peter is actually right here referring and talking about what? Genesis 6. That judgment. But Peter said these mockers, these scoffers, they're ignorant of all of these things. They may know a flood occurred, but they may not know the reason why. And then they mock and scoff because nothing has happened yet to them or to the world. Let's jump down. Verse 7. But the Shemayim and the earth are now, by the same word, are kept in store. It's kept in store. When you keep something in a store, it says reserve unto fire, what you said earlier, fire, against the day of what? Judgment and perdition of ungodly man. So what's reserved? Fire. For who? Ungodly man. What makes you an ungodly man? My son read it earlier, 1 John 3 and 4. When you go against the Most High and you have transgression, break his laws, that's what make you an unrighteous or ungodly man. So you can't blame anybody for this fire. You can't be mad at anyone for the fire because you know that the fire is coming. It's right here in 2 Peter 3 and 7. Now I have a question. If people know that fire is coming and they know it's reserved, why do people always say that they're going to be raptured out? If something is reserved, so they feel like they're going to be raptured before the fire. In verse 8, Peter says, but beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day with YAHAWAH as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as one day. So yes, it has been thousands of years. It has, since anything has happened, since our brother was here, since the apostles did what they did. It has been thousands of years. But Peter is letting us know, don't grow restless. Don't be in a rush and don't grow restless. Because one day to the Most High is 1,000 years. See, when people see Genesis and they see the creation was in 6 days, we don't know if it was an actual one day or those days, as Peter's explaining to us, was 1,000 years. So it says in the Bible, he created the world in 6 days, but it could have been 6,000 years because to him, one day is 1,000 years. One day. I'm so sorry about these birds. It's like as soon as we get in here, they always do this, but they're quiet most of the time. So my apologies. Okay. But I just wanted to show that it says be not ignorant, so don't be ignorant of this, that it's one day to the Most High is 1,000 years. You can find this right here in verse 8. Verse 9. The master is our Yahweh Salakia is not slack concerning his promises, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering. He's very long suffering towards us, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to what? Repentance. So we all have a chance to repent for the evil, for the wrong that we have done. As long as you still have breath in your body, you still have a chance to repent. Let's continue on. Verse 10, the new Shemayim and the new earth, right? But the day of Yahweh will come as a thief in the night. Once again, but the day of the Most High Yahweh will come as a thief in the night. Why a thief in the night? Because you don't know when that thief is coming to break into your home. You sound asleep, or you not there, you snoring, drool running down your mouth, right? And the thief is at your door trying to break in. That's just how the Most High is going to send his only begotten son. You don't know when, you don't know what time, you don't know the hour. It says right here, in the which the Shemayim shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt. They will melt with the fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So everything that's on the earth, and it says the works thereof, right? That's what it says. They shall be burned up. Why? Because that fire is reserved. Now, once again, this is the judgment, correct? This is the judgment upon the earth, that everything, all the works therein, all the houses and homes and cars and clothes and all these big mansions and buildings and skyscrapers and all those things will be burned up. Verse 11, seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of person ought ye to be in a Quadash conversation, in godliness? So Peter's basically saying, how should you conduct yourself? What type of person should you be on this earth, knowing that everything that you see and everything that's built is going to be burned up one day? It's not going to stand. It's not going to be there forever. You know, it's not going to be, what's when people can't tear something down because it's history? What is that called? You know, they go and they get the rights where you can't touch it because it's a landmark, something like that. I can't really, it's not coming to mind, but it's like, yeah, they consider it sacred, like it's a landmark. It's history. It's something that they don't want to tear it down because it has memories. It's attached to the land, right? But that doesn't mean anything to the Most High, because he's going to burn it all up. All those things, all those monuments, all those things that they got plaques on saying that it means something to the Most High, it don't mean nothing. So Peter is saying, if you know this inside, how should you live? This is what it's saying. How should you conduct yourself and your behavior here on earth, where you know none of this stuff is going to be here and it's meaningless? Verse 12. It says, looking for and hastening unto the coming day of the Most High, wherein the Shemayims being on fire shall be dissolved. So those Shemayims, right, those different heavens will be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with the fervent heat. Verse 13, nevertheless, we according to his promise look for a new Shemayim and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness. That's the day we're waiting on. Well, righteousness will reign across the earth that we live on. There will be no more sadness. There will be no more sickness. There will be no more murder. There will be no more strife. There will be no more evil, wickedness, sin. Only, what does it say? Righteousness. You don't have to worry about if your brother is going to steal from you. You don't have to worry about if your brother going to sleep, or a friend of yours is going to try to sleep with your wife. You don't have to worry about anything if your children go out to play and they've been gone for hours. You're not worried about if they got kidnapped, if somebody hurt them, if somebody did something to them. That those type of thoughts are gone. They're not even in your mind anymore, because it's only righteousness on the earth. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful thing. Verse 14. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, be diligent that ye may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. So he's saying, when Hamashiach Yahushua, Christ, when he comes back, make sure that you're what? You're found of him in peace and without spot and blameless. Now, do you just wake up one day in peace? Do you just wake up one day without a spot? Do you just wake up one day being blameless? No. When you get a spot on your shirt, I got a white shirt on right now, matter of fact. If I eat something, which you know you're going to do throughout the day, and something drops on my shirt, I have a spot, correct? What do I need to do to get that spot out? Take it off and do what? Clean it, wash it. But what am I doing? It's a process of something that I have to do. I have to take the shirt off. I have to find something to clean it with. Then after I clean it, maybe I look at it and I didn't get all of it. I thought I got all of it. But once I clean it and it dry, it's still something there. So what do I have to do? I have to go back, or maybe I have to find a better detergent and go back and clean it again. Sometimes in order to get certain stains out or certain spots out, you have to clean it 2 or 3 times. And let's be sorry about that, guys. And let's be honest. To be honest, sometimes the spots never come out. Sometimes they never come out. Sometimes we have to throw the things away. Have you ever had that happen to where you had something and you spilled something on it? Wine, ketchup, something that was just, it's soaked in. And since you didn't get to it right then and there, by the time you got to it and washed it and put it in and cleaned it, that spot, no matter how much bleach, no matter what you put in there, it will not come out. And the outfit or the shirt is just, is useless. It's ruined. It's ruined. Khan, the water for that. Shalawam, Ahchwathyam. She said those birds want to be a part of the conversation. Yeah, they sure do. They going in. And you know, to be honest, they only really do this. Sometimes they do it throughout the day, but they really do it when we in here doing this Shabbat lesson every Shabbat. You know, I don't know what it is. Maybe they, like you said, they want to be part of the conversation. Ahchwathyam says those are what you call landmarks. Landmarks. Khan. That's exactly what it is. But knowing that those things are going to be destroyed by the Most High, we as believers, we don't look at those things like, oh, I mean, sometimes you see them. It's good to see. But we know intuitively in the inside that those things will be destroyed at a point in time. So all praises for that. God. And then she says, I'm glad these things are evil and need to be gone. And he's going to take care of all that. He's definitely going to take care of all that. Let's continue on. The water for those comments, Ahchwathyam. So like I was saying with the spot, and blameless, it's a work, it's a progress, you know, it's a process. This is why he's saying this in verse 14. Wherefore, beloved, seeing that ye look for such things, we're looking, that's where our hope is. It says, be diligent, meaning continue to strive, continue to work on that day after day. Don't throw in the towel, don't give up. I don't care if it take you 20 years, 30 years. Paul went through something, even in his writings, he let us know that what? He had something that he was going through. He kept praying and praying and asking for this thing to be taken, this thorn to be taken away out of his side. What did Hamashiach Yahushua tell him? My grace is sufficient, meaning you're going to have to suffer and go through this. This is your element. This is your weakness. This is something that you're going to have to deal with through the process of time. So yeah, it may take you a while to get that spot out. It may take you a while to be blameless. I don't know. But when we speak of things in the Bible, whether it's Abraham, whether it's David, whether it's anybody in the Bible, it was a process of time. Not unless the Most High had sent forth that person like Samson, you know, when his mother prayed, you know, and who Samuel, when his mother prayed, you know, they already had the spirit. They already knew what they were going to be and what they were going to do. But a lot of us don't come out the womb like that. Let's move on. Verse 15. This 2 Peter 3 and 15. And account those long sufferings of our master or out of wine is salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul, also according to the wisdom given unto him. You're shaking the table. Also the wisdom that was given unto him have written unto you, as also in the other epistles, right? So all those epistles we have from Paul, which are 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, 3 Corinthians, Hebrews. Well, I won't say Hebrews because people debate on that, right? But we got 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, the Philippines, many books, right, of Paul, Romans. So Peter is letting us know all of the things that all those books, all those epistles that he wrote, as it says, speaking in them these things, in which are some things hard to be understood. Now, if you want to talk about somebody in the spirit, in the Rakah, man, Paul was on a whole nother level with his stuff. And Peter is recognizing that, telling us, you know, Peter is telling us these things, as also in his epistle, speaking in them these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable, they wrestle with these things. Why? Because they're unlearned and they're unstable. You know, I just did a lesson on that a couple of days ago about the book of Enoch, how people go in there and they read certain things, or any of these books, because it's not just the book of Enoch, the book of Jubilees, the book of Barnabas, the book of Nicodemus. You know, it's so many books. The books of Acts to Pilate. You know, you can go on and on and on and on. You got that book over there? The book of which one? With like the 50 apocryphal books, 100 apocryphal. I want to show it so people know. You might be sitting on it. Am I? So is. I told you. And I was looking for it. Just bring me another one real quick. I'm gonna show this one on the screen. Give me a second. Yeah. Let me see. I'm like, you might be on it. Okay, I'm on it. Here we go. For those that are watching, let me stop sharing. I want to show you this, right? Now, for the ones that are watching, you can see it on the screen. Now, this is a apocryphal book. It says the complete 54 book apocrypha, right? Now, that's what this is right here. So all these 54 books of apocrypha are in here, right? If you don't have this, I would encourage you to get it, right? And I'm gonna just go to the index real quick just to read off some of the books that it has, right? It has Tobit, Judith, Wisdom of Solomon, Sirach, First Baruch, First Maccabees, Second Maccabees, Second Ezra, Third Maccabees, Fourth Maccabees, Prayer of Manasseh, the Testament of the 12 Patriots, which is a great book. You should read that. First Enoch, Second Enoch, Third Enoch, Book of Giants, Jasher, Life of Adam and Eve, Book of Creation, Testament of Abraham, Testament of Isaac, Testament of Jacob, Second Baruch, Third Baruch, Fourth Baruch, and on and on and on, right? On and on and on. So if you do not have this book, it would be a great book for you to have, because these are the books that are apocrypha that go into things. Now, would somebody say they agree upon all these things that are in this book? I'm not saying that, but I'm saying these are great reads, it's great information, and you should have this in your, as they call it, catalog. You know, you should have this. What a beautiful thing to have. The Aqua of Dorothy says, Khan, Sis Mayan, Barak me with that book, Khan, all praises, you know, and that's what we should do. You know, if you don't know where to get it, if you interested in getting it, you know, Email us, let us know. We'll help you. We'll send you in the right direction. But like the Aqua of Dorothy said, hey, it's a great thing to have, you know, and she got one. She was Barack with one. So all praises be to the Most High, you know. So let's go back as we finish this up about Paul real quick. That how some people may wrestle because, you know, with his writings, and they do just in regular ones because they're unlearned, unstable, as they do also the other scripture unto their own destruction. This is why everybody mostly uses Paul, and they go to one thing about Peter when he had the vision with the animals. But most of the time in general, it's just about Paul with the Gentiles and Peter when they want to eat pork, crab, shrimp, lobster, anything that pertains to the dietary law, right? But most of the time, like I say, they use Paul about how they live and how they don't have to keep the law, and the law is done away with, and all of these things. And Peter is letting us know these people are unlearned, they're unstable, and they're using these things to what? Their destruction. They don't realize that they're destroying their own self. But they won't read this. Neither will they read it in the church, the congregation, or anything. They won't read this about Peter, what he's saying about Paul writings. Let's continue on. Verse 17. Ye therefore, beloved, seeing you know these things before, beware, lest ye also be led away with error of the wicked, far from your own steadfastness. So Peter, Kepha, once again, is warning us, letting us know that we could be led away into error. We definitely can. This is why you have to do what? Stay diligent. You have to stay on it. You got to keep trying. Don't throw in the towel. You have to keep going no matter what. I don't care what you're going through and what's happening in your life or whatever. Just keep going. It's days that I felt down. It's days that I felt like, man, I'm not going to do this. You know, it's days that I felt like I'm not going to go out and preach, or I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that. But all praises to the Most High that I have a significant other and I have people around me to say, hey, just because you going through something, this is greater than you. This is not just about you. This is about the Most High. This is about the Rakah. This is about your brother, Hamashiach YAHAWAH. And because you going through something and you feel down, you think that you can put the word to the side because you going through something? No. You still got to go out and do the will of the Most High. And I have to say, every single time, it makes me feel so much better after I went out and done the will of the Most High. You know, and it shows me no matter what you go through, you keep going. Because that's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to give up. He wants you to throw in the towel. He wants you to say, I'm just a sinner. He wants you to say, I'm just wicked. I'm just weak. I'm just this. I'm just that. What do we call that in the world when people start doing that to themselves? I'm ugly. I'm nothing. I can't get nobody. I don't have no money. You're just talking down about yourself. What do we call those kind of people? Or what do we say those people, what state of mind that they are in? They're in a depressed state of mind. They're belittling them. Go ahead.
Low self-esteem.
Low self-esteem. What was the other one?
Belittling themselves.
Belittling themselves. That's not a good person to be around. They're sucking all of the energy out. And they don't believe in themselves. The Most High said, how can you, if you don't believe in yourself, how can you believe in him? So, but some days get hard, the world we live in. Trials, tribulations.
Debbie Downers. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Debbie Downers. You know what I mean? But Peter is saying, look, stay diligent, stay strong, stay steadfast, you know, don't give up. Why? Because in verse 18 it says, but grow in grace. Every day you should be growing in what? Grace. And in the knowledge of our master. So he's telling us to grow in something. Grow in grace and what? In the knowledge of our master. and Savior, Yahawashi HaMashiach. I have grown so much from the first day that I've opened the Bible, because like I said, I didn't grow up reading or in church or anything. But from the first day that I opened the Bible and started reading to today, 2026, I have grown so much just to know Hamashiach Yahushua, know the word of Hamashiach Yahushua, know the Father, know the commandments, know me as an individual. Because before all this, I thought I knew me, but I didn't know who I was as an individual. I didn't know that there was evil living inside of me. I didn't know that there were two things inside of me, good and evil, that was inside of me fighting. But before that, it was just evil. There was no good. This is why he's saying this in verse 18. But grow in grace and in the knowledge of our Master, Savior, Yahawashi Mashiach. To him be the glory, both now and forever. Peter is saying this, that we need to grow. The apostles always ask for things like this, like Luke chapter 17, real quick. I believe it's verse 3 that I want. Let me see, or 4. Let me see. Actually, Salakia 5. Luke 17 and 5. These are apostles, as it says right here. I don't want to start moving fast, so I'm going to take my time. Luke 17. I just want to read one verse real quick. Low self-esteem, chapter miss, and then Debbie Downers, con. Luke 17 and 5, right? It says, and the apostle said unto the Master, Yahawashi Mashiach, increase our what? Faith. Increase our faith. They're asking, Yahawashi, please, Adawan, increase our faith. Let our faith be like yours. That's a process that you have to go through to increase in faith. Where you was 2, 3, 5 years ago compared to where you are now in your faith is not the same thing. If it is, something is wrong. But you should be growing in your faith constantly. And there's nothing wrong with asking the Most High and speaking to your brother Hamashiach Yahushua, saying, hey, I'm going through these things. Like Paul was saying, hey, man, I got this thorn in my side. I got this weakness that I'm going through. So it's nothing wrong, because he know we have what? Infirmities on us. He know that we have weaknesses in the flesh. So it's okay to ask the Abba, can you increase my faith? Can you increase my strength? Can you help me? Can you protect me? Can you guide me? I mean, David asked for all these things. He said, teach me your law, statutes, and commandments. Teach me how to walk in your commandments. Teach me this. Created me a new heart. So if we read that all these other powerful men in the Bible was asking the Most High to help them, how come we can't ask for help? You should be able to ask for these things. So always pray and ask him to what? Increase your faith. Because the more faith you have, the more belief you have. And the more belief you have, what happens if you have more faith and more belief? What do? You produce more what? Huh? Wisdom. But I'm looking for a word with an F in front of it. Fruit. You're going to produce more fruit. As the apostles grew in their faith, they produced what? More fruit. Peter went from denying Hamashiach Yahushua to, in Acts 5, he said what? When he said, who we should rather obey men, we're gonna rather obey the Most High than men. And they was willing to put him to death, but he said we are willing and ready to obey the Most High rather than men. But he didn't have that faith back when he was running from them people that would say, hey, you with Hamashiach Yahushua? He was like, no, I'm not. So he had increased in the faith. So I just want to show you, this is the last thing that I'm going to go to real quick, and then we're going to move on to the resurrection. 2 Corinthians, since we talked about Paul, verse 5 and 10. Then we're going to go into like I said, the resurrection, the dead, and all those things, right? But I wanted to touch on the judgment first. So we went into a few: Hebrews 9:27, Romans 6:23. We went to 1 John 3:4 to show you what sin was. We went to Genesis 6:5 when I broke all that down about the judgment with the water on the earth. And now we in the New Testament showing you about the judgment in the fire that's reserved, as Peter said. And you could start from that 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 3, all the way down. Read from 3, actually start at 1 and read the whole chapter to verse 18. But now we're in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10. And it says, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Hamashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he has done. This is the judgment. Right? This is the judgment for everything that you have done in your body. Like I said, you can't blame nobody after you have received the knowledge, because now you know the things you do in your body. That's what you're going to be judged on. And then it goes on to tell you right here, whether it be good or bad. So either way, whether you did things good or whether you did things bad, that's what you're going to be judged on. It says in verse 11, knowing therefore the terror of Yahweh and our master, Hamashiach Yahushua, because he's going to lay it down just like the Father would. We persuade man, but we are manifest unto the Most High, and I trust also are manifest in your conscience. Does this resonate with you? Do you have this understanding? Is it stirring something up inside of you? Because his writings continually tell us what type of people are going to get into the kingdom, what type of people are not going to get into the kingdom. And he tells you right here in verse 10 that whether it be good or bad, this is what you're going to be judged on. This is the judgment. So hopefully that helps you a little bit about this judgment and is edifying you on the judgment. Now let's go into this resurrection a little bit, right? Let's go into this resurrection a little bit. I want to start it off in the book of Ezekiel 37. That's where I want to start it off at, because this resurrection is about the valley of the dry bones. That's what it's about. I'm going to also play a little short video. I'm going to play a video through it, but I want to read a little bit of it before I play this video. But I know sometimes people with reading, it's hard for people to visualize things. So that's why I'm going to play the video also, that you may be able to visualize and see it. And maybe you can understand it a little bit better too. We'll read 37 verse 1 on down a little bit. You want to take hold of it? You want me to get it? Go ahead then. Ezekiel chapter 37 verse 1.
The hand of Yahweh was upon me and carried me out in the spirit of Yahweh, and set me down in the midst of a valley which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Yahweh Ahchyam, thou knowest.
So this is Ezekiel in the spirit, in the Rakah, having a conversation with the Most High Yahweh, in the Rakah, in the spirit, right? And he's asking, can these bones live? They dry. Can these bones live? And he said, only you know, Yahweh. Verse 4, go ahead.
Again he said unto me, prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh Ahchyam unto these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live.
So wait a minute. These are bones, dry bones. Then he's telling him in verse 5 that he's going to cause breath, life, to enter into them, and you will live. You will live again, right? Verse 6. Go ahead. Continue on.
And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh.
So when this happened, this is a resurrection, right? When this resurrection happened, the Most High said, when these things occur, you will know that I am the Most High Yahawah, the Ancient of Days, the giver of life and the taker of life. You're going to know this. He's putting, what do we call that? He's putting his stamp on it. Certified. Verse 7.
So I prophesied as I was commanded. And as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above. But there was no breath in them.
There was no life in them yet. No breath, right? Remember when Adam was formed, there was no breath in him. There was no life in him yet. But in verse 9, what happens? Go ahead.
Then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, Thus saith Yahweh Ahchyam, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, and they may live.
That they may live. Go ahead, verse 10.
So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
So the resurrection, when they're resurrected, the ones that are with the Most High and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach, those men will be what? A great army of what? Righteousness. A great army of righteousness for those who have been what? Resurrected. So you want to know what you're going to be doing once you become resurrected? What is life going to be like? You're going to be in the army of the Most High Yahawah and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Now, if you don't realize this, you are already in his army right now. If you don't know it, if you're a believer, you believe in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai, you have entered into his army right now. If you didn't know that. This is why we fight against what? Evil. That's what his army does. His army fights against the wickedness and the evils of this earth. This is why he says the kingdom is where? Where's the kingdom? Within you. You don't have to wait to actually enter into the kingdom. The kingdom is already in you. The way you act, the way you conduct yourself, the way you are a kingdom. What's the word I always use?
A representative.
A representative, but the other word that I always use, ambassador. You are an ambassador to Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. While he's not present here on the earth, you are his ambassador. You bring forth his word. So you are his ambassador, right? Now, verse 11, we'll read verse 11 and then I'm going to show the video, right? Read verse 11 and then we'll go into the video. Remember, I'm only showing a video because sometimes when people see it and visualize it, they can understand it better than just reading it. Go ahead, verse 11.
Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel.
They the whole house of who?
Israel.
So those dry bones that are being spoken about, the Most High is letting us know that's a representation of only the whole house of Israel. Not speaking about the whole world. It's speaking about a nation of people, which are Israel. Go ahead.
Behold, they say, our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off for our parts.
And that's what we say even to today and have been saying for thousands of years. Our bones are dry. We have no hope. We have no hope. We are lost. All of our people are lost, trying to follow the ways of the other people, of the other nations, and we are cut off from all parts. So now I'm going to go into this video and hopefully, like I say, visualizing it, you can see it. And already before I play it, you can see on the screen that it says fair use educational purposes. We just want to make sure that this is being said, and you know this is why we use these type of things. Okay, so contact me. Here we go. I'm gonna play the video. Let me see.
Okay, if there's one AI site builder you need to meet,
Salaki. Devil, he did. Hold on. Hold on. Let me get it. Salakia. I had it set, but you know. One second. Here we go. All right, here we go. I'm gonna play it from here. Let me go back and share it. Here we go now.
15 verse 4. So yeah, the Israelites dispersed throughout the world will begin to awaken to their heritage, and this is what the prophecy of the dry bones shows.
Oh, real quick, let me just share this. He uses the name Yahawah. I mean Salakia. We say Yahweh. He uses the name Yahuwah. Now, understand the reason why he says this. Some brothers use Ahchyam, some brothers use Yahuwah, some brothers use for Yahweh Shah, Yahushua. It's because of the vowel system. So I'm not knocking this brother, it's still my brother, but this is what he used because he's under the vowel system and the cool system, something that the Masoretic text and things like that they use the vowel system. For those who don't know about that, look that up, go into it, and you will learn that they did that in the schools of Tiberius and things like that in the 4th, 5th, 6th century and all the way to the 10th century. But this is where the vowel system come from. So understand what he's saying. He's still talking about the Most High of Israel. I just wanted to make that clear. Here we go.
So let's discuss it. This starts with Ezekiel recalling a past experience he had with Yahuwah. When we see the reference to these bones, this is in reference to death. As Yahuwah says, he says the bones symbolize the whole house of Israel. As Ezekiel describes them, 1, they are dry, or spiritually dead. 2, they are hopeless with no apparent hope of being resurrected as the people of Yah. And 3, they are dispersed, cut off, and disassembled before they were rejoined and rebuilt. If you go back and read through these prophecies, this is how they're described. And what is happening here is Yah's chosen people, through Yah's spirit, is being given a spiritual rebirth. The spiritual rebirth of Israel would miraculously revive and restore Israel to what Yah had intended them to be in the beginning. This was a vision depicting Yah's power and promise to restore and revive a dead people. And the thing you need to understand is that we are that dead people. We are scattered, without a nation. We try to assimilate in these other nations, but they don't want us. They treat us separate. They label us by a color that's not even ours. We have become bywords. And the overwhelmingness of this can sometimes be too much to bear. We are a dead people. Even in Christianity, with replacement theology, they want to tell you that it's not about Israel anymore because they are cut off. These are the main themes and points right now in religion. And throughout all this, we have become to feel abandoned. Many of us personally have had to deal with these personal feelings like we were abandoned. Something was missing and no one could help explain it. It's because of who we are. But hallelujah, we must praise Yah. This vision is depicting Yah's power and promise to restore and revive us. This is where our hope is. You know, in the mainstream, there are many that are saying that because of the current occupants of the land, Israel, they are saying that this prophecy had been fulfilled. But this is not true. Let me tell you how you know this for sure. Currently, the current occupants of the land, they're referenced as Jews. But Jews are just a portion of the 12 tribes. This prophecy is about the whole house of Israel being restored, as verse 11 says. The Israelites dispersed throughout the world will begin to awaken to their heritage. The bones represent that the nation of Israel is dead, but is brought back to life. Israel and Judah both will begin to remember who they are among their captivity. Notice also Ezekiel heard a rattling first, and this is what is happening right now. Some of Israel and Judah are already beginning to awaken. This is the rattling. Yahuwah will remember his people and bring them out of their captivity. You see, though Israel was dead as a nation of peoples among the world, Yah will have mercy on them and awaken them and bring them back home. That's the prophecy. Now, the first thing I want to state is the point in time where we're currently at in this prophetic timeline. And that, again, is the rattling of the dry bones. We are at the rattling. The dry bones are waking up. And this is why this video in this series has been made, because we're calling Israel to repentance and calling them to know who they are and bringing them back to Yah. Their hope is not lost. They need to know that they're not cut off and that he's going to restore them again. And so we are doing our job to wake them up, to breathe life back into them, and then call them to be his people. So when so many people speak against this whole topic, they truly just do not understand the whole point of prophecy. They don't understand these prophecies.
They don't understand these prophecies that we're speaking about. Now let's jump back. That was for educational purposes, right? Fair use, right? Now let's jump back and read a little bit more in the scripture, and then we'll go right back to the video. Like I said, only reason I show the video is because sometimes when you actually read the scriptures, other people like to visualize it. And in the video, you can actually see the bones. You can see them shaking. You can see them coming together. You can see the flesh come on them. You can see the breath blew in them. So you can visualize it. Now let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 37, where we left off verse 11, right? Actually, we read verse 11. And now we'll go to verse 12. Go ahead.
Therefore, prophesy and say unto them,
Thus saith YAHAWAH, behold, O my people, I will open your graves.
I will open what?
Your graves.
Now, this is the resurrection that people want to know about, talking about what we're doing this lesson on, right? The valley of the dry bones. This is the resurrection. It says, I will open your graves. And I'm going to show you in the New Testament that the first one, or I'll say pre, has already happened. And I'm going to show you in the scriptures, in the epistles, that this has happened. And you can put your faith and trust in it. Go ahead.
And cause you to come up out of your graves. And bring you into the land of Israel.
He's going to bring the children of Israel into the land of Israel. Go ahead. Verse 13.
And ye shall know that I am Yahweh, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves.
Now we're talking about the graves here where people are buried. So first of all, to even be talking about this is telling us that we shouldn't be cremated. It's telling us as a people we should not be cremated, that we should be what? Buried. That is our tradition, to be buried. And this is why the Most High is delivering this through the Rakah of Ezekiel, saying that he's going to open up those what? Graves, those burial sites. Verse 14.
And shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. And then shall ye know that I, Yahweh, have spoken it and performed it, saith Yahweh.
So he's letting you know I'm doing all of this to show not only you, but to anybody else that I am who? Yahweh, the power, the Ancient of Days. For those who know Hebrew, he is the Allah Shaddai, which in the English you would say the Almighty. Verse 15. I'll read a little bit of this and then we'll go right back to the video, right? I'll pick up this part. Verse 15, it says, the word of Yahweh came again, saying unto me, moreover, son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions. Verse 17, and join them one to another, one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. For those who don't know, the reason he's going through this and telling you they shall become one is because the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom has split at the King Solomon. So there was a northern kingdom and a southern kingdom. And now we became what? Two instead of one. But the Most High right here is letting us know once he raised us up out of the grave and the resurrection and all of these things, we will no longer be one. Be two. We will be one. Salakia. And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. Verse 18. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what this or thou this meanest by these? Say unto them, thus saith Yahawah Elohim, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. Understand what he's saying. You won't be two anymore. You will be one nation of people like it always was. Now, I'm going to go back to the video so you can visualize everything that was just said. Here we go. Let me jump back to the video, and you can visualize everything that was just said to see it.
Yahuwah prophesies to Ezekiel, saying, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed say, our bones are dry, our hope is lost, and we ourselves are cut off. Therefore prophesy and say to them, thus says Adonai Yahuwah, behold, O my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you back into the land of Israel. You see, many people on the outside don't really know what the people who descend from those taken in slavery, the people who descend from those oppressed, the people that themselves have felt the hatred for no reason. They don't understand what we have been thinking. They don't recognize that there's undealt with trauma against a group of people scattered all over the world. Many of us, without knowing who we are, knowing anything about ourselves, we've always wondered why this has happened to us. Why do people hate us? Why are we so oppressed? We feel we have no hope. We felt that this never is going to change, that our situation is basically hopeless. This is what many of us have felt. And so you have to understand that this is a part of prophecy. He knew that we were going to be saying this, and this is why it's important to breathe life back into the dry bones and let them know that you are not forgotten and that he is coming back to restore you. After he has punished you, he is coming back to set you back and bring you back to the land. And so this prophecy comes first before the next part of what Yahweh prophesies to happen is fulfilled. And that's the main thing that we're all waiting for. And that is the gathering and then restoration of Israel. You see, in the last two parts, I dealt with the scattering all over the world. But the most wonderful part to all this is that though we are in such conditions like this, our Father knows that this is our case because he's done it to us.
Salakia, just to show real quick how when we come into the lesson and when we first start in the beginning, and I say, Shalawam, shalom, peace and blessings to all of the Ahchyam, all of the Ahchwathyam, that is scattered to the four corners of the earth. This is what we mean. This is exactly what I mean, as we see on the screen. Colombia, Iraq, Belgium, South Africa, India, Cuba, Brazil, France, Turkey. We are everywhere, and we're scattered to the four corners of the earth, just like the Most High said he was going to do on our punishment, our judgment against the children of Israel, just as well as we're going over today, the resurrection of his people and making them one again and putting them back in the land. But this is just a few places on the screen that we're scattered to. And these are all our people, all of our Ahchyam and Ahchwathyam, brothers and sisters.
And the blessing is that he has not forgotten about us. He has been punishing us, but he has promised that he will not forget about us and he will gather us again and restore us. This is what the Bible is about. You see, so many people focus in the New Testament, and the New Testament, it leads all to this, but it's not the full fulfillment. We are waiting for Yahusha to come back and reign as king. What do you think he's coming to reign as king of? He's the king of Israel. We're waiting for him to come back and restore Israel. In order to restore Israel, Yah says he's going to gather his children from the four corners of the earth where he scattered them. I'm going to cover all this. I don't want to rush too much. I'm just getting a little excited. Most people think that this topic is about race, but they don't realize that this topic is more biblically important than they can ever imagine. This, again, is what the Bible is about. But the problem is the masses, they can't see it because they're indoctrinated by race, and they only see us as race, and they only see us as a skin color. And they are purely hypocrites because while they say that they are all about Jesus and whatnot, they fight and they argue about the most oppressed people all over the world. They tell us we are all one race and none of this racial stuff should be spoken about. And they want to act like none of this is real. They want to act like none of this ever happened, while they also hypocritically contribute to the oppression. Remember, most of this oppression that has been happened amongst the nations that identify as Christian nations. The nations that were Christians were the slave owners. And the truth is that the Protestant Christian church wants to ignore this hard to hear fact. They say they love the gospel. They say that they love Jesus. But when these subjects are brought up, they want me to be quiet. They want me to leave it alone. And most of them, they're going to be judged for it. And that's why I keep bringing it up to them so they're not, so they can repent. But they hate me for it. Because here's the thing. Here's the truth. The Messiah that they say they believe in, he said this: when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the holy angels with him, then he will...
Hold on. Before we go into that, I want to ask, what we got? 4 people in the chat. Let me see. Are you willing to stand up for Hamashiach Yahushai in truth? It's just a simple thing. Those people that he showed that say they believe in Jesus, believe in Hamashiach Yahushai, Christ, the anointed one, are they truly fighting the good fight? Are they truly really believers in the word? Or do they believe in another gospel as the Bible says? Let me see what you in the comment believe and say about those people.
Are you referencing to the people like Christian people?
Christian people.
No, they're on a whole different agenda. They don't even believe in the law.
Hey, Ahchwathyam, Dorothy put the fist up.
She ready for it.
She ready for it. All praises be to the Father. You know, and that's what we need. What you was gonna say now?
I was saying that if you're referencing to so-called Christians.
I'm speaking about Christians.
No.
You know what? Hold on. Not only Christians, I'm gonna say Christians and people who know that they are Israelites, because you do.
Because they reference different Hamashiach.
Not necessarily. The reason I say that, listen to me clearly. The reason I say that is because in the last few years, just in the last few years, and what I've seen, you have certain Christian pastors that are taking on the form of Israelite, meaning they are saying yes that his name is Yahweh. They are saying yes that he has a son named Yehoshua or Yahushua. They are saying yes that we should be keeping the commandments, but yet they don't keep the commandments, meaning they still shave their beard, they still wear those suits, they still keep church on Sunday, right? But they'll have some writing in the back of them with like kind of Hebrew writing.
Okay, well, I'll say this. The scripture says that they are most likely Sadducees because you do what they say, not what they do.
Okay.
They're not following Hamashiach Yahushua.
Okay.
They're following whoever they want to reference to, because if it was the right, then they would know the Hebrew language and they would know that's not the name, and they would be following who they're supposed to be following.
Okay, calm. Well, in the chat, the only one who spoke up this in the chat was Dorothy. Ahchwathyam, Dorothy spoke up and put the fist. We had 4. Somebody dropped out, or they got up out of there. Chat the man jumped in and says, denying the fullness of what it is, they who say they are Jew and are not. Calm. Mayan, she put the fist. So we got 3 people, Dorothy, Chad, and Mayan, that's standing up for Hamashiach Yahushai. Right? Are you willing to stand up for Hamashiach Yahushai? Be honest. You can say, I don't know. I'm not sure. I am. Huh? Okay. He said he don't know. And that's okay. Because first we have to be honest with ourselves before we can just say something. Because everything we say is written. We know that, right? Matthew 12.
And not only that, when Peter was ready to, as soon as the cock crowed, he was like, never mind.
Right. Even Peter. And right before that cock crow, he was just telling Hamashiach Yahushua, hey, man, I'm willing to do it all.
Yeah.
And what did Hamashiach, get behind me, Satan? You don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're saying. I've been doing lessons on that prior about counting the cost, right? Saying that you really going to lay down for Yahushua, but then when the time comes, you ain't really ready to lay down. You got to really understand what it is that you're saying and what you're really getting into. You got to lay down your life, and it's a simple thing, but it's not a simple thing. This is why the whole Bible speaks about this renewing, so all praises be to the Most High for that. And like Chapter Man says, calm, so I appreciate that honesty, You should never, ever, let me say this before we move on. Never, ever, ever force anyone to lay down their life for Hamashiach Yahushua. And I'm speaking about as an adult. I'm not speaking about as children and your child. Of course, you raise up a child in the way they should go. But I'm talking about as they get on their own path. Are they really ready to lay down their life for the Most High? And if they're not, move to the side, because that's how people get caught or in trouble or stumble or fall, because you're in the way. You get what I mean? If you in a game, if you in a track meet and everybody out there running in a relay and I'm standing on the track field just trying to figure out where my seat is, looking I'm gonna mess somebody up. They got to go around me. Somebody might fall. Why? Because you're not part of this. You're not on the track. You're not on the field. So just go to the bleachers and stand until you're ready to come on the field. And don't get me wrong, there's other people that's on the field that's not really ready. When we read about that in the scriptures and people were standing up when Israel was going to war and the people were shaking, the men were shaking, they were peeing on themselves. What did they tell the men? They told them, they said, hey, if you're not confident in this, just go back home. Just go home. If you got a wife and you got kids and you thinking about your wife and you thinking about your kids and you thinking about your job and you thinking about all these other things, like they said, go home. You more of a hindrance to us. Because see, we ready to die. And if it's a man next to you that's not really ready to put it down and go all the way, you don't want that person with you, man or woman. We today, in the world, in the younger world, we call them riders. Either you're a rider or you not. And we know in this world, you have some people that are riders that are willing to go to the extreme, to the fullest. And then you have other people who gonna tuck tail and run. So which one you gonna do? But let me just say this too, to all of the Ahchyam, all of the Ahchwathyam. Everybody in this body has different services. So that service may not be for you. You have soldiers, there are different levels. So I don't want you to say like, oh, well, because I can't get out there and lay down my life that I'm not a follower, I'm not for my, no, that may not be for you. But there's other members to the body, other jobs, other offices. That's all. I'm gonna move on now. Do we have anything? Let me say liberty. And then Chapter Man says, throw and through, stay true. Stay true. True to the fullest, as I always said. I always said that. True to the fullest, Let's move on. Let's go back real quick and read a little bit more of Ezekiel, because that video is going into, something else Same thing, but a little something else. So I want to go back real quick and I want to read a little of this. And let me see what verse I left off on. Verse 19 I left off on, right? They will be one in my hand. Verse 20. And it says, and the sticks whereon, am I sharing this or no? No. Let me share this, Con.
I don't know, mine has a delay, so I can't, you ain't even moving on my screen yet.
Okay, I'm sharing it now. Let me know when it's up on your screen. It should be up on there now. It's sharing. Let me know if everything is good in the chat. The audio. Okay, Con.
It's showing now.
It's showing? Okay, yeah. Con. All praises. So we're in Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 20. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before thine eyes. And say unto them, thus saith Yahawah Ahchyam, or Allah, really, because this is the Most High. There is nothing else. Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen. I'm going to highlight that because that's where we are. We're among the who? Gentiles, the heathens. Whether they be gone, as Ak was just explaining on his video, scattered to the four corners of the earth, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. So yes, we have a land. We have a place. We're cut off, but we do have it. And the Most High is going to put us there in this day of resurrection. Verse 22, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be their king. Who is our king? Hamashiach Yahweh to them all, and they shall be no more two nations. Remember, I explained to you earlier that after King Solomon, Israel split into a northern kingdom, which are all the rest of the tribes, which were 10 tribes, and then you had the southern kingdom, which were who? Benjamin, Judah, and who else? Levi, right? It says, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. All praises be to the Most High for that. Verse 23, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, meaning they won't break the Most High laws anymore. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places, meaning no matter where you at. We just read earlier on the screen when I showed those people a few places, Colombia, Belgium, France. It says wherever your dwelling place is, the Most High will redeem you, wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Allah. Meaning power. He will be their power. Now, some people may have a hard time saying, oh, well, I don't really believe. I don't know about the resurrection. I don't know about these things. Let's go and show that it's not only in this Old Testament, as people say, but it's also in the New Testament. But before I jump to the New, let me get one more verse real quick. 2 Kings chapter 13 is where we will be going. 2 Kings chapter 13. And we're just going to go straight to it. I'm not going to play around. We're going to go straight to what I want. 2 Kings 13 and 19 or 20. Let me see. Go ahead, read 20. 2 Kings 13 and 20. Like this is not a new concept. Our people knew these things. Go ahead.
2 Kings chapter 13 verse 20. And Elisha died, and they buried him.
And they buried Elijah. Go ahead.
And the bands of the Moabites invaded the land at the coming in of the year.
So the Moabites invaded after he died, correct? This is what the Bible is saying, in the coming year. Moabites came and invaded. Go ahead.
And it came to pass, as they were bearing a man, that behold, they spied a band of men.
Some Israelites was burying some people. And then they spied, they see some other men coming. Go ahead.
And they cast the man into the sepulchre of Elisha. And when the man was let down and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived and stood up on his feet.
So when they put this dead person in the same grave or same sepulcher as Elijah, and his body touched the bones, showing you how long that he has been dead, his body had decayed and it was bones. It said when they put this dead man down in the grave and it touched his bones, it said he revived and stood upon his feet. So it was power where? Where was the power at? Let me do a comparative text. In the dead bones. This is the New Living Translation. It says, once when some Israelites were burying a man, they spied a band of these raiders. So they hastily threw the corpse into the tomb where Elijah and fled. But as soon as the body touched Elijah's bones, the dead man revived and jumped to his feet. So life was given to the man that was dead because he touched the bones of this prophet. So even though he was dead, his bones still had the power. But why did this happen?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The man that who was the man that they threw in there?
It was just the Israelite.
An Israelite?
Yeah.
So do you think that it was like, because I mean, do you think it could have been an Israelite that believed or just a regular Israelite?
Well, all Israelites believe at this time because they knew who they were. They were in the land. But this is the thing that's being said right here is that in verse 20,
practicing Israelite.
All Israelites was practicing back then. If you wasn't practicing, you got put to death. So that's why I'm saying it was a little bit different because they knew who they were. They knew they was in the land. Remember, on 2 or 3 witnesses, if they found that you were doing something or you broke the law, or they put you to death. Mm-hmm. So everybody was practicing. We'll put it like this. On window, you don't know what people doing in their house. So we say surface level.
The Most High knows.
The Most High knows.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
It could have been a person that was really a believer of the Most High for real, for real.
The reason I say that is, look, yeah, could have been. Let me do this comparative text. I'm going to read it right here from verse 20 and 21 in the New Living Translation, right? It said, then Elijah died and was buried. Groups of Moabites, right? These groups of the Moabites, they came to invade, right? So this is what's happening. Each spring, it says. Once, when some Israelites were burying a man, so these are Israelites burying another man. I don't believe it would be a heathen. But it said when some Israelites were burying a man, they spied a band of raiders, right? So now they see some people coming towards them, basically. It says, so they hastily threw the corpse into the tomb. Now, this wouldn't have happened if they wouldn't have seen them invaders coming. They would have took the time to put him in there right. But since they seen these people coming, they just threw him in there, kind of let him down in there real quick. And then they fled. Well, they fled from who? These raiders, these people that are coming. They don't want to get caught for some reason. I guess they was in fear of them. It says, but as soon as the body touched Elijah's bones, the dead man, whoever the dead man was, he revived and jumped to his feet. So like you said, it doesn't go into great detail about who this man was, but you say he had to be a believer.
I mean, not only that, but why would they be burying somebody with Elijah? Like, why was he not in his own?
Wow. Sepulchre is like a group of burials, right?
Well, you can bury multiple people in there, because it's not necessarily like it was how it is today where they actually dig in the ground. A lot of times, as they did with Hamashiach Yahushai, they dug into the rocks.
Yeah.
You know, so multiple people can be buried in there.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the mausoleums that we have.
Right. And it wouldn't have happened like this if the people were never coming. He would have never been through in there. The only reason he touched the bones is because they were in fear. They kind of threw him in there, and he kind of touched his bones. But the reason I believe that this is in the scripture is to show us about what? The resurrection. Because that's what the man did. He was dead, and as soon as he touched those bones of Elijah, it says he revived. Right here it says the dead man revived and jumped to his feet. Mm-hmm. He was resurrected right then and there. And to me, it just shows right here that to have faith, belief in the resurrection of the Most High. Mm-hmm. This is what it's showing me. And we know that he was a great prophet. A great prophet. But now we're showing that. Let's go to the New Testament real quick. Now let me check the chat if anybody has anything they wanted to add to that.
I think that's Brother Timothy.
Yeah, Timothy Khan. He says, listening, driving home on the Shabbat class, 434, Baltimore, Maryland, 434. All praises to the Most High. Shalawam, Shabbat Shalawam, Brother Timothy. The water for tuning in, on this beautiful Shabbat day. Barak to you and your family, you and your wife. And may you have a beautiful rest of your time. Hopefully that snow don't melt it some, and you able to kind of enjoy it. That was 2 Kings chapter 13, verse 20, about the bones. Khan. Chapter man says powerful. It is powerful when you think about it. Very powerful. Because all this man did, he was a dead man. And all he did was just touch the bones. And he revived. I wonder, it doesn't go into detail, but I wonder how that man felt and what he thought when he jumped to his feet. It doesn't go into great detail, doesn't give us all that, but I just wonder, But anyway, let's move to the New Testament real quick. Let's go.
His dry bones brought forth life.
Khan. That's why I was showing that. Khan. Letting you know that those bones have what? Life in them. You're never really dead. You're just asleep. You're never dead. All praises be to the Father, Yahawah. Let's go to Romans real quick. Chapter 15. Romans 15. Once again, the water, Brother Timothy, the water, chapter man, the water, Aqua Dorothy, the water, Mayan, the water, son. I don't know if she's still in there. The water, Jenny Wood. The water for everybody that may be tuning in and will tune in later, that hear this message and listen to it. For those who have an ear to hear, please hear. Romans 15 in the New Testament. I'm going to be starting at verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. So what we just read is 2 Kings chapter 13, verse 20 and 21, I believe. Those things that were written by Ezekiel, those things that we have went over today were written for what? Our learning. That's what Paul is telling us. That through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have what? Hope. So when I read something like that in 2 Kings chapter 13, and they were lowering another Israelite down and it touched the bones and he revived, I'm like, man, that blows me away. Like the chapter man says, that was powerful. When we read about the valley of the dry bones and the great shaking and awakening, he's going to put flesh on them. He's going to put the breath in them. He's going to bring them back to life and put them in his own land, as we've been going over. That gives me hope. That gives me joy. Let's read on. Now the Most High have patience and consolation grants you to be like-minded, one toward another, according to who? Hamashiach Yahushua. Verse 6, that ye may with one mind and one mouth glorify the Most High, even the Father. That's who it's talking about. Glorify who? The Father. Of who? Our Adawan, Master, Yahushua, Hamashiach. Wherefore receive ye one another. We should be receiving one another, not casting down one another, but receiving one another. As Hamashiach also received us to the glory of the Most High. See, a lot of times we have issues with the Ahchyam and with the Ahchwathyam. And instead of pointing the finger and knocking people down, which I have, been a part of, meaning we see other ox doing things or going off or this or that. But I'm not the judge. And what I mean by that, if you see a brother doing something wrong, it's the way they do it. The Bible tells us how to do it, how to conduct it. But for one to point a finger, when we all know, as the Bible says, you got a plank in your eye, who are you? And you might say, well, hey, I'm keeping the law, statute, and commandments. Wasn't the rich young ruler, man? Wasn't Hamashiach Yahushua keeping all the law, statute, and commandments? And he said, when he came and kneeled to him, he said, good master. Yahushua turned around and said, why do you call me good? There's only one good. So if you say that you good, then you superseding Hamashiach Yahushua. Because he said it was only one that's good. And you will all, let me not say this. You should always feel like this, that it's a plank in your eye, because then you're always working to better. When you think you got it all down, when you think you don't need nothing else, you living just the way you need to be living, and you don't need nothing else, then you're not enduring to the end. And the Bible says you must endure to the end. There's always something inside this flesh that we can work on. Always. And the one that we should be looking at is who? The Father. That's why Hamashiach Yahushua said, why do you call me good? There's only one good. That's the Father. He never knew no evil, never will know no evil. Believe it or not, even though he didn't commit it, believe it or not, Hamashiach Yahushua knew evil though. How do we know this? Because he was in the flesh. Because he was tempted. So he knew what it was. He just didn't do the act. He didn't commit it, but he knew what it was. The Most High never knew or never felt what evil is. This is why when you go into the Bible, Hamashiach Yahushua, he says, I want to go into the earth with the body, flesh and blood, like my brother. You can read about that in the book of Hebrews. I want to know what it is to be in a body with flesh and blood and live like they live, so I can judge them righteously. This is what he says. I want to know that. That way I know what it is to be tempted. I know what it is to feel that your brother is dead and how he lament and he cried and he suffered and he wept. I'll stop right there in the book of Romans. Let's go to Matthew and read about Hamashiach Yahushua. Anything in the comment?
No.
Matthew 22.
Oh, Sister Dorsey said double honors to you, Elder. To, I guess, Timothy?
Con, I believe that's the Timothy. If you're still here in the building, Baltimore, Maryland, Timothy. The Ahchwathyam is saluting you. She says double honors to the elder. Timothy, if you're still here, we'll leave that up for a second just in case. But she's giving double honors to you. Matthew 22 and 24 is where we'll start. Let me go down some. Let me take this off real quick. Aqua Dorothy, I'm not sure if he's still in here or not, but if he is, we did say it. I'm going to read Matthew 22 and 23. I'll start. It says, the same day came to him, Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moses said, if a man die, having no children, his brother shall marry his wife, and raise up seed unto his brother. Verse 25. Now there was with us 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother. Likewise, second, also to the third, unto the 7th. Right? So all the brothers died, and every time a brother died, he took on that other wife. Right? He took on that wife. So in verse 27, it says, and last of all, the woman died also. Now all 7 brothers died, the woman died. It says in verse 28, therefore in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of? The 7. For they all had her. So the Sadducees, even though they don't believe in a resurrection, this is what you would call scoffing, mockery. They're trying to scoff at Hamashiach Yahushai, saying, listen, well, all 7 brothers had her as their wife. If there's a resurrection, when they are resurrected, whose wife will she be? Yahushua answered, verse 29, and said unto them, ye do error, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High. Let's break all that down. The first thing he said is you do error. What is error? It's wrong. Something's not going through. Something's not computing. When we do it on the computer now, it's an error. Meaning something is what? Wrong. Correct? It's not going through. It's not computing. Then he goes on to let them know what your error is. Here's your error. Not knowing the scriptures. But they're Sadducees. They're Sadducees with and around the Pharisees. But yet they do not understand or know the scriptures. Hamashiach Yahushua is making that very clear. The third thing he says is you don't know the power of the Most High. So the life, the understanding that you have, the things that you think you know, you really don't know anything. And it shows your ignorance for you to come and even ask me something like this. Out of the 7 brethren, whose wife shall he be or shall she be? So now you're really showing your ignorance. But here's the kicker, verse 30. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are like the Malaks of the Most High in the Shemayim. Letting us know that there are no Malaks in the Shemayim that are what? That are married. There are no Malaks in the Shemayim having little Malaks running around saying, daddy, daddy, mommy. That's not happening. People always are talking about the kingdom and how many wives they're going to have and how many this they're going to be doing and all these things that these Israelites be talking about that they're going to be doing in the kingdom. I'm going to have me 7 wives and I'm going to have this and I'm going to have that. Man, Hamashiach Yahushua said, you will be like the Malaks. You're not going to get married. You're not going to have any children. Don't you understand that you are a servant of the Most High? And you will be serving him in the kingdom as a servant, as a priest for the Ahchyam. And to be honest, you know, he has some service for the Ahchwathyam too. Now, those services, I don't really know what they're going to go into and what they're going to get into. But believe me, he has services for those. Just like he has services for those Ahchwathyam when in temple. How do we know this? When you read the scriptures, Jephthah offered up his daughter, and she had to go where? To the temple. And that's where she lived the remaining of her time as what? A virgin. Offered to who? The Most High. So yes, and when you read in the Bible, there were Ahchwathyam, there were sisters, there were women that were devoted and dedicated to the Most High. Now, what their services were, it doesn't go into great detail, and I wasn't there at the temple, so I don't know, but I know that those women were virgins, and those women were offered to the Most High Yahawah. So no, there won't be any marriages for, like I said, for those who resurrect. Now, there will be people here on earth that are still in a human format. Those Israelites that are still on earth that are in human form, they could be married and they will have children. And you say, well, will they be in the kingdom? Yes, they will. So you do err, as he said, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of the Most High. For in the resurrection, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the Malaks of the Most High in the Shemayim. But I thought the Malaks were having sex with women in Enoch. If you're an Israelite, you believe having sex with women is being married, then we have an issue here. Because as Israelites, that's what we believe. To consummate the marriage, you have to lay down with the woman and have sex with her. That's what consummates the marriage. We know this through the Torah, through the law, because after they have the sex, what do? They take the sheets and they bring it to who? The father, and the father takes it to who? The priest. And they all lift it up and show that they have consummated the marriage and that she was pure. Right? So did the Malaks do this when they laid down the women and then they was married? Because the Mashiach Yahushua said that they won't. That doesn't take place. Anyway, because that's going.
Please verify who the Malaks were.
Say that again.
Can you please verify who the Malaks were?
What do you mean? What Malaks?
The Malaks that laid with the women.
Well, the Malaks that lay with the women that they're saying in the book of Enoch, when it says sons of the Most High or sons of God, it was actually speaking about the sons of Adam, basically the sons of the Most High that were serving the Most High. Those are what you would call the sons of God, or the sons of the Most High, that lay with those women. And those women that are called the daughters of man, those women are called really the daughters of Cain. And they was not supposed to sleep with those women. There's a separation. Still to this day, we're not supposed to sleep with the daughters of Cain. And there's a lot of daughters of Cain that are here on this earth. Basically, that's what you see every day. The women that you see every day on an average, those are daughters of Cain. That's why they act the way they act. That's why they present themselves the way they present themselves. That's why they beautify themselves the way they beautify themselves. You know, I didn't have it pulled up, but if you go back and you read the book of which one is this? I believe it's the 12 Patriots. It goes into great detail about the daughters of Cain and lust and things like that. How they painted their nails, how they painted their faces, how they even had tattoos. You know, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a lesson on that about the daughters of Cain. You know what? It came to me. I'm going to do a lesson on that and we'll go into it. That way I can show it that that's what they were. And that's what they are today. So those Malaks that it's speaking about in the book of Enoch are not talking about necessarily celestial beings. It's talking about the sons of the Most High that are set apart. We have to understand and remember, what does the word Quadash mean? The word Quadash means to be set apart, sanctified, sacred. The sons of the Most High are that. The children of the Most High are that. When you read Deuteronomy 7:6, that you are a chosen people. When you read Peter 2:9, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. You're set apart. You're the sons of the Most High. And no, you're not supposed to go and be diddling and dallying with the daughters of Cain, because they are wicked. They are evil. They don't serve the Most High. And the Bible goes into that about being lured by these evil women. What it say? She gets you with what in the book of Proverbs, chapter 7, you can read that 6, 7, and 8. That her mouth is like a honeycomb, and she looks for who? That looks for the dang, what was that? I don't want to say stupid. The simple-minded boy, or the simple-minded man. And and here he came walking down the street in the dark. And she said, I just did my vows. The husband is gone. Won't you come and lay with me? He's not going to be back. He took a bag full of money. He won't be back. And they say the simple-minded man, he went right along. Right? Not knowing, as the Bible says, that was dealing with her and going to her house was the interest of what? Hell. Mm-hmm. And that's what she does. Like Jezebel, she devours the souls or the men of the Most High. That was the whole thing about Jezebel. That's what she was doing. She was killing off the Most High prophets. Man, she killed a lot of them. Why? Because she was the daughters of Cain. She went in against us. And you think it stopped? No, Jezebel then is the same like Jezebel spirit now. You have Jezebel spirits all in across the world. And that's what's pushed to the masses. They don't push Proverbs 31 woman. They don't push what Peter said in Timothy, in 1st and 2nd Timothy. They don't push that. They don't push those things. So hopefully that explains somewhat. Verse 31. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have ye not read? That's what was spoken unto you by the Most High, saying, I am the Allah of Abraham. Let me pull it up, son. I am the Allah of Abraham and of Isaac and of Jacob. The Most High is not the Allah, the power of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. Why were they astonished at his doctrine? Because they had a whole different doctrine. What they believed and what they thought process was totally different than what Hamashiach Yahawashi was telling them. So they had a whole different doctrine. The same way they have a whole different doctrine today. Man, you could get on there, you can press on one of them YouTube channels, and Israelites be telling you, man, when I'm resurrected, I'm going to have 4 wives. We're going to be in the kingdom, and I'm going to be doing this, and I'm going to be doing that. And they ain't going to be doing none of that. They ain't going to have no wife. Don't you know you a priest of the Most High now? You a malak. You ain't having sex and all that old stuff. You are a malak. So I don't know where they get this stuff from, but everybody has their own doctrine, their own agenda, but we have one doctrine. Let me get that real quick. Proverbs 4. And then we'll jump right back to the New Testament. Proverbs chapter 4. It says, I don't want to start moving fast, Salakia. Let me give you time to get there.
4 what?
4 and 1. Ahchwathyam said, no worries, Mary, foolishness. Chapter man says foolishness. You said con. Chapter man says Proverbs 4, con.
Sister Dorothy said they have fleshly desires.
Con, they do. They do. And you know what? To be honest, it's actually, how can I say this? They have those fleshly desires. Not only that they're able to put them out and portray them or push them out to the people, and people believe this. Now, I don't know if they read the Bible or not, but people, other fellow Ahchyam Israelites that know that they're Israelites, to follow the law, statute, and commandments, they agree with those Ahchyam. They agree with them, and they kind of give them the high five. You know, you can hear them when you listen to them on the YouTubes and things like that in debates. And you can hear them in the thing, kind of laughing and giggling and kind of like snickering, like, yeah, we can't wait. Especially GMS, but we know that they are, you know. Hey, I don't like to talk about my brothers; those still my brothers, but that Ahchyam, they got a lot they going through, you know. But yeah, like she said, bottom line is, oh, you got something? Go ahead. Bottom line is fleshly the desire. So the water for that, Ahchwathyam. Go ahead.
I wanted to say two things because I know you always say I don't want to say anything against my brothers, but at the same time, how should I say who is your mother, who is your brother?
Right.
If they're not doing what according to the Most High, then technically that's not your brother.
God.
But on a side note, it's sad that when you do hear other Israelites saying things like that, it's almost as if that is what their focus is on in the kingdom rather than worshiping the Most High.
But not only in the kingdom,
what they should be pushing out, regardless which one, because you're gonna have the one on the earth and you're gonna have the resurrected one.
There you go.
But what I'm saying is that's what they're looking forward to. They're not looking forward to serving the Most High.
Which shows you their state of mind
Right.
now.
Right.
So if that's the state of mind of that, say that again.
They're letting you know how they're gonna think future tense.
Con. So like she's saying, like the Ahchwathyam Dorothy said, just fleshly what? Desires. And they're letting you know that that's what they're dealing with now, and that's what they're hoping for in the future and in the kingdom. And that's not what you should be desiring. That's not what your mind should be on. Fleshly desires of having women. Listen, to even have a woman is a fleshly desire. That's of the flesh. To even think of something like that is a fleshly desire. Letting you know that they are being overcome with what? Flesh. That's what they overcome with, the flesh. So be careful when you see brothers and hear brothers like that, Ahchyam like that, you know, especially out here teaching and things like that. Just be cautious. That's all I can say. Be very cautious.
Chapter man said, flesh cannot go. And Sister Dorothy said, I refuse to debate the issue about multiple wives. Most of the ones I have observed just have a bunch of girlfriends calling them wives. Very few have serious marriages.
You know, hey, now that she said that, this is a side note, but I will show this real quick. For what the comment that she just read, I was reading Proverbs 4, right? It says, hear ye, children, the instructions of a father, and attend to no understanding. For I give you what? Good doctrine, right? So we already have a doctrine. Remember what I just read where Hamashiach was going over the resurrection in Matthew 22. And it says at the end of the last verse I read, it says they went away astonished of his doctrine. This is the same doctrine that Hamashiach Yahawashi has right here in Proverbs 4 and always had. But the one that they had, that doctrine was different. And we'll go into what she just said here, this comment, because it's a beautiful comment, right? Very beautiful comment. Read it one more time. I refuse. Go ahead.
Oh, I refuse to debate the issue about multiple wives. Most of the ones I have observed just have a bunch of girlfriends calling them wives. Very few have serious marriages.
Why is that? Because back up here, she answered the question. Let me go to it. Where it's at right here. They have what? Fleshly desires. They have fleshly desires. When you see men like that, they have fleshly desires. When you a man of the Most High, are you supposed to have fleshly desires? Should you have fleshly desires? Huh? Let me get this real quick. I want to go to I showed this the other day. Let's go here to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Huh?
I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, 1 Corinthians real quick, chapter 7. And then I also want I'll give you a chance to get there.
Chapter 7, what verse?
We're gonna start at verse 1. Give people the time to get there though. And I also want let me see.
Sister Dorothy said both men and women have to put those fleshly desires to rest. We can't feed them. I heard that, Sister Dorothy.
She said what?
She said both men and women have to put those fleshly desires to rest. We can't feed them. Feed them with the word.
Okay. Now, for those that are here, hopefully you tuned in and you hear after what she just said, right? This comment right here about the wives, right? The comment she made about these Israelites, the Ahchyam having multiple wives, like she ain't even gonna debate about that. But most of the time, it's just them like having girlfriends calling themselves wives, right? And they say they men of the Most High. I say that this is just what fleshly desires, as she said earlier, right? Now, let's go to 1 Corinthians 7, as she put right here. Both men and women have to put those fleshly desires to rest. Why can't we feed them? That's Sirach 18 and 30. You know, the more stuff you say, Ahchwathyam, the most scriptures popped in my head. But for those, I'm not going to go to that one. But for those who want to know what that, please read the book of Ecclesiastic Us, or better known as the book of Sirach, chapter 18, verse 30, right? That goes to what she just said right here. Now, let's read 1 Corinthians 7 and 1. It says, teaching on marriage, right? Now, concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. But Paul said that it's good for a man not to touch a woman. Why would he say that? If you a man of the Most High, if you a woman of the Most High, it is good for you not to have a husband, and it is good for you not to have a wife. But if you can't control your, as she just said, at the Aqua said, fleshly desires, Paul saying the same thing right here. Nevertheless, if you can't control your flesh to avoid living in sin, fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Now, let's go to Matthew real quick. And after this, we're going to go back about the resurrection, and I'm going to get ready to start wrapping it up. Let's go to Matthew 19 real quick. Let me see. Hold on. Matthew 19. Let me go down some. Let me see. I'll start at 10 right here. It says, his disciples saith unto him. 10. His disciples say unto him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. Right? So the disciples is like, well, it ain't even good for us to marry. But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save only to whom it is given. So you are 100% correct, Ahchwathyam. They are living in fleshly desires. That's what they're living in. I don't care. If you a man of the Most High, you serving the Most High, that should not be your thing to be worried about how many wives you got. Oh, I want to go out there and give me 3 wives. For what? Can't even afford them. Ain't even taking care of them. Because when stuff spill over, we find out all kind of stuff that's going on with inside all of these marriages. But that's a whole nother story. Anyway, let's continue on verse 12. For there are some eunuchs which were born so, Salakia, which were born Hold on, I'm not reading that right. Let me take my time. For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb, meaning they were eunuchs born out of the womb. For there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men. They cut their private area off. Other men did that to them. And then it says, I'm going to highlight this last part right here. And there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of the Shemayim's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. This is Yahawashi speaking. So there are men, especially at this time, on the earth that have became eunuchs for the kingdom of the Most High. Whether they never used a private part or they completely cut it off for the kingdom. You're talking about sacrifice. And that's a fleshly sacrifice. That's a fleshly desire that they was willing to sacrifice for what? The kingdom. Then were brought unto him little children, that he should put his hands on them and pray. And the disciples rebuked them. But Yahawashi says, suffer the little children and forbid them not to come unto me. For such is the kingdom of the Shemayim. And he laid hands on them and departed thence. So really, it's all right here in, verses 10. I could have put more, but I just wanted to start at 10 and 12. But verse 12 is what I really wanted. Let me do a comparative text, and I just want to see what the comparative text say before we move forward. New Living Translation says, some are born eunuchs, some have been made eunuchs by others, and some choose not to marry. For the sake of the kingdom of the Shemayim, let anyone accept this who can. Can you accept that for the kingdom? That's why Paul said it's not good for no man to touch a woman. See, when you understand about the kingdom and you understand about walking with the Most High, you understand is walking as a malak, you're not worried about laying down with no women. Let me ask you this, for those who may know and those who don't know, you can know now. Did not the Most High tell Jeremiah that he can't take a wife? Let me get that real quick. What's that? Jeremiah chapter, I believe 16. Let me see. Yeah, here it is right here. See, I'm sorry. When these things start spinning in my head, I get excited. Then I start moving real fast, but I have to calm myself back down. Jeremiah 16. Let me know when you're there.
16 what?
Verse 1. And I know this is a side note. This is not to do with the lesson, but it's taking us there through the Rakah, right? The book of Jeremiah, verse 16, 1. The word of Yahweh came also unto me, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons or daughters in this place. They were going into captivity. They were in captivity. But the Most High told Jeremiah, a man of the Most High, a prophet of the Most High, a seer of the Most High, that he cannot do what? He cannot take a wife. He can't have no sons. He can't have no daughters. Did Samuel have a wife? Huh? No, he was dedicated to the Most High from a child. For those who know the story, even his mother, when his daddy was like, hey, I'm going up to the temple to worship Most High, his mother say, well, look, we're going to stay behind. He's still on the nipple. When he get old enough and he not on the nipple no more, then I'll take him to the Most High, and then he'll be delivered to the Most High. Men of the Most High don't be worried about those things. I believe that Peter was married because it speaks about in the Bible about his mother-in-law. But when Yahawashi came, it said Peter left all, meaning he left his wife, not divorced her, but he went out to do what he needed to do with Hamashiach Yahawashi in the ministry. This is why Paul says this in 1 Corinthians 7:1. It's not good for those type of men, for the sons of the Most High, to be touching women or dealing with women. Why? Because it takes you away from the Most High. It tells you that in Corinthians. Let me see if I can find that real quick before I move on. This is the last thing that I'm going to try to find, and then we'll go back to the resurrection, and then I'll close out. Let me see if I can find this verse. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 7.
Sister Dorothy said, as far as I know, Hamashiach did not have a wife, and I don't recall John the Baptist having a wife either.
Here it is right here, what I was looking for. Let me put that on the screen, what she says. Hold on. Hamashiach Yahushua did not have a wife. It's not written in the scriptures in the 80 we have or the 66, but there are other books out there in the world. That's why I say you have to be careful. They say he did have a wife. And he was actually married to Mary Magdalene. You get what I mean? But this is what I'm saying. Other books out there in the world that are contradictory to what's written in the scriptures. My foundation is in the 80 and the 66 in the scriptures. So if I read something which are opposite of that, then I'm not going to adhere to that. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to read the book, or I'm not going to get or look into that information. Also with John the Baptist too, right? Never heard nothing about that. He was actually beheaded because he told Herod that he should be marrying his brother's wife, right? And he knew that it was wrong to marry his brother's wife, you know. So Khan, you're right about all of those things. But like I say, in this world, if you want to find something out like that, and that if you want to find falseness and you want to look into something like that, you'll find it. Somebody wrote it. But my belief and my faith and my hope is in what the word says in the 66 and in the 80 and some other ones too. But if it contradicts anything that goes against those things, then I don't adhere to it. I don't take it in, you know. So she said, I don't believe he was married. Khan. And that's just what it is. Like I said, the only thing that I've ran across and read was that he was married, as they say, to Mary Magdalene. And they had a child.
Yeah, I heard that too.
You know, but I don't necessarily subscribe to that or believe in that. You get what I'm saying? I really don't. That's what they said. But anyway, right here, 1 Corinthians 7:39, it says, so then he that giveth her in marriage doeth well, but he that giveth her not in marriage doeth even better. The wife is bound by law as long as her husband liveth, but if her husband be dead, she's at liberty to remarry. That's not what I was looking for. Hold on. I'm looking for that they don't. Let me see. Here it is right here.
1 Corinthians 7:1.
30.
Huh?
30.
7:30?
Yeah. Actually, 32. 32. 1 Corinthians 7:32, it says, behold, I will have you without carefulness. He that is unmarried care for the things that belong to the Most High and are out of wine. Basically, how he may please Yahawah. But he that is married care for the things that are of the world, how he may please his wife, right? And vice versa. So this is why Paul is telling us in verse 1, it is good for you not to touch a woman. It is good for you to be a eunuch. It is good for you to lead on women alone. That's why it says in Matthew 19, lead on women alone if you a man of the Most High or a woman of the Most High. Why? Because once you start dealing with them and you get married, it says now you start to care for things of the world and how to please your wife. And us as men, we always thinking, how can we please? Do we need to take them out to eat? Maybe they want to go to a movie. Maybe they want to go to a show. Maybe I should buy her some flowers. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. You always thinking, how can I please her? Vice versa. The wife is thinking, as it says, how can she please her husband? Maybe I should cook him a good dinner. Maybe I should rub his feet. Maybe I should just let him know I love him. It's always trying to please. Why? Because you have put something there in front of the Most High. But if that man wasn't there, that woman wasn't there, the Bible says you would just be able to focus solely on the Most High without those interruptions.
Chapter man put a picture of a man like this.
Yeah, straight up, And this is what I mean when I said earlier. This is what I meant earlier when I asked my son, and he was like, I don't know if I'm really to lay down for Hamashiach Yahawashi. I understand that.
It's not something to take lightly.
It's not something to take lightly at all, because listen right here, Paul is saying don't even be with no woman. If you a real man of the Most High and you really want to serve the Most High Yahweh, right, and walk in all the law, statute, and commandments and do everything Yahweh said don't even deal with no woman. Just be a soldier for me here on the earth. Vice versa for the woman. If you just want to live for the Most High and serve him and be pure, he said, don't even be with no man. Just dedicate yourself to me and serve me. That's the greatest honor. That's the greatest honor. Let me go back to it real quick. Matthew 19, right, which we was reading, 12, right? This is the greatest honor. For some are eunuchs. Wait a minute, let me see. In verse 10, it says, his disciples saith unto him, if the case of the man be so, his wife, it is not good to marry. This is what the disciples are saying. And we know marriage is having sex. So then you can't have no sex with no woman or no man, because that's what marriage is. When you lay down with that woman, you marry. When you lay down with that man, you marry. I don't care what you say. You can say all day, no, we ain't married. You married in my eyes through the Most High. Period. I don't care what you say. Then it goes on in verse 11. It says, but he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is what? Given. This may not be given to you. I'm telling you what it is, because through the word of the Most High, this is what we have to do through the Rakah, is deliver the message. But it may not be given to you. But like Paul said in 1 Corinthians 7:2, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, living in sin, go ahead and get you a wife if you can't overcome your flesh, like the Aqua of Dorothy said. It's just fleshly desires. So if you can't overcome it and you can't deal with it, then get you a wife or get you a husband so you don't live in sin. But it's not given to everybody. So no, not everybody that believe in the Most High is just going to be eunuchs. But there are going to be some. As it says, they were eunuchs for what? The kingdom of the Most High. And it says, he that is able to receive it, let him receive it. Are you able to receive it? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a man. I didn't know none of these things before I came into the truth. I had no idea that this stuff was even spoken about. I didn't know anything about the Bible. So I'm going to be honest. I couldn't receive it. I know what it is, so I can't receive it. Now, me knowing this now, if I could go back, which you know you can't go back in time, would I do it all different? Of course. Because I know what it leads to. I know the ins and outs of it. But still then, I don't know if I will be able to receive it. These are one of these things. Can you truly handle it? Like she said, it's not a light, what you say? It ain't a light load to carry. Can you walk through this earth your whole life with never being or touching a woman and just serving the Most High? Vice versa, a woman never touching a man and just serving the Most High. Can you do it? And for those who can and are doing it, all praises be to the Father Yahweh for that you have sacrificed yourself for the Most High. All praises. But I'm not knocking the ox, the Ahchyam or the Ahchwathyam that are out there that are married. Okay, I'm not knocking you. I'm just saying. Now, listen, I know we got on this side note. Let's go back real quick, Matthew 27, and let's wrap this thing up. I got a few scriptures. I got Matthew 27 and 2nd Ezra I'm going to go to. And then we're going to get out of here. 50.
15 or 50?
50. Matthew 27, and I'm going to start at verse 50.
Matthew chapter 27, verse 50. Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose.
So we talking about the resurrection again. Like I said, we going back on the subject, and we getting ready to wrap it up. So what were open? The graves. This is a resurrection right here. There were people that were dead that were in the graves. And when Hamashiach Yahushua gave up the ghost, what time did he give up the ghost? Anybody? What hour? You ain't got to ask the time. What hours did the Bible say he gave up the ghost? The 9th hour. The 9th hour he gave up the ghost, right? So we know that was what? 3 o'clock p.m. He gave up the ghost. Yeah, he gave up the ghost at 3 o'clock p.m. And when he gave up the ghost, it tells you that the graves opened and many bodies of who? The Kodash or the Kodasim came out of those graves. Go ahead, verse 53.
And came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many.
So not only did they come out the graves when he gave up the ghost, it says they came out the graves still after his what? Resurrection. They were still coming out of the graves after his resurrection. So it just didn't stop. It wasn't just right then and there. They were still coming out of the graves after his resurrection. And where were they going? They were going into the Kodash city. What is the Kodash city? Jerusalem. And they appeared to who? Many people. Let many people know this resurrection thing is true. Believe in it. Put your trust in the Most High Yahweh and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua. I'm telling you, I'm here. You know that I was dead. And I'm here talking to you. Go ahead. 54.
Now when the centurion and they that were with him watching Yahushua saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, truly this was the Son of the Most High.
So once they saw those things, now they believe, right? Unfortunately for us, we don't get to see those things. We're not that generation. But the beautiful thing about it is that I put and we read earlier, Romans chapter 15, verse 4. What did it say? Anybody remember? No, she said, I remember. Okay, I go over and I tell you, Romans chapter 15, verse 4, it says, all those things that were written aforetime were written for what? Our learning. So this right here that I'm reading, this was written for my learning, to know that bodies came out the graves, that there was a resurrection, that Hamashiach Yahushua was here on earth. Not only him, but other people walked the earth that came and resurrected. And I believe that. Okay, now, with that being said, we're going to get ready to wrap all this up that we have went into. I just touched on a little bit here in the New Testament in the book of Matthew, but I encourage you to go back if you have not read these things. Please, please go back and read the whole book of Matthew if you have not read it. Please don't just read chapter 27 and think you got it and that's it. Read the whole book of Matthew. I believe it's 29 chapters, which is not a lot. 29 chapters is not a lot. For those who read the Bible, you know what I'm talking about. You can get into some books and it's like 100 or 200 chapters. Exactly. So 29 is not a lot, you know. But anyway, let me stop sharing my screen. Let's go ahead and wrap this up with 2nd Ezra. This is where we're going. 2nd Ezra, chapter 7. and we'll be starting at verse 65.
Second Ezra, chapter 1?
7.
7?
Yeah.
65.
Now, for those who have the regular 1611, I'm not sure, it may be in there, it may not.
No.
For those who don't have it, you can pull it up. Put Second Ezra. If you have a phone, if you have a computer, if you have something, put Second Ezra, chapter 7, verse 65 to 105. Now, the reason it's not in some of you guys' Bible is because they took this portion out where they say it's a revived version. What does it mean that revived? Meaning some people took that portion out and then later on they revived it, meaning they put it back in. That's what it means. Okay. You can look into it your own if you want to, but this is exactly what it means. So this is Second Ezra, the prophet. You can look in here and see if it's in there. It might be in this one. You got it?
I'm surprised it was in there.
Where? In that one?
Yeah.
Let me see which one you got.
That's the Gino one.
Yeah, you got it. Okay. What does it say to 65? How does it start?
And he is bountiful.
No, that ain't it.
Second Ezra 7.
Yeah, but it says right here, Second Ezra 7 and 65. Let the human race lament, but let the beasts of the field be glad. Let all who have been born lament. What does lament mean? Be sorrowful, right? Cry. Be sad. But let the four-footed beasts and the flocks rejoice. So it's telling you the four-footed beasts, the flocks, the dogs, the cows, the bison, let them rejoice and bountiful. Because he would rather give them or rather give than take away. Verse 66. For it is much better with them than with us. For they do not look for a judgment. So we're speaking about judgment and a resurrection to wrap it up. We're combining them together. For they do not look for a judgment, nor do they know of any torment or salvation promised to them after death. And abundant in comparison, because he makes his compassions abound more and more to those now living, and to those who are gone, and to those yet to come, the ones that are going to be born. For what does it profit us that we shall be preserved alive, but cruelly tormented? This is the judgment after death. For he did not make them abound, the world with those who inhabited would not have life. For all who have been born are involved in iniquities. As I stated earlier, everybody that's born on this earth have been involved in what? Iniquity. Iniquity is another word for sin, right? Iniquity is another word for sin. And Ezra is writing here and saying, for all who have been born on this earth are involved in iniquities, and all are full of what? Sins, and burdened with transgressions. And he is called giver, because if he did not give out of his goodness, so that those who have committed iniquities might be relieved of them, not 1/10,000 of mankind could have life, right? Not just one. Verse 69. And if we were Slakia, and if we were not to come into judgment after death, remember, I started off this lesson, which was the first verse out of the Bible I read on this lesson was what? Can anybody remember? Huh?
Not judging somebody.
Life and judgment.
No, the where was the book at? What book did I read out of? The first verse. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27.
I wasn't in here.
Right? That's the first verse I read for this class.
Hebrews what?
9 and 27. Right? Which goes into this in Second Ezra. 69. If we were not coming to judgment after death, perhaps it would have been better for us and judge, because if he did not pardon those who were created by his word and blot out the multitude of their sins, how were their sins blotted out? Through Hamashiach Yahushua, through his blood, through he sent his only begotten son, the Most High, to take our sins away, to wash us, make us clean. That's pardoning us. He stepped in the middle and said, you know what? I'm going to pardon you. I got you. Just like now, you know, you might get so many years in prison. The president can step in and say, I'm going to pardon him. He doesn't have to go. That's what Hamashiach Yahushua does for us. Right? Our judgment is torment, punishment, everlasting torment, punishment, everlasting fire in the lake of fire. But Hamashiach Yahushua, he steps in and said, no, he's with me. Abba, he's with me. He's part of my army. I covered him in my blood. I died for his sins. And he blots them out. Verse 70, he answered me and said, when the Most High made the world and Adam and all who have come from him, he first prepared the judgment and the things pertain to the judgment. There would probably be left only very few of the innumerable multitude. So the first thing the Most High did before he made the world, before he created Adam, the first thing he prepared was the judgment. This is how he knew when he created the people who were his and who were not his, which were vessels for what? Honor and vessels for destruction. Why? Because he did the judgment first. So he knows whose are his. The judgment was prepared before even we were created, before Adam was created, right? So letting you know, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 70. This is what it's saying. He first prepared the judgment and the things that pertain to the judgment. There would probably be left, what? Only a very few. And we know throughout the Bible, it tells us in Matthew 7, tells us in 2nd Ezra, it tells us all throughout what? The gate is narrow, but the road to destruction is wide. But the gate to get to the kingdom or receive the kingdom is narrow. And what does it tell you in the book of Matthew in the New Testament? It's few be that find it. Few. Compared to the innumerable number, as it says right here in verse 70. And now understand from your own words. Did you have something? No. Oh, okay. And now understand from your own words, for you have said that the mind grows with us, right? The mind grows with us. Like I tell you, it's all in the mind. And it grows with you. It should grow every day. It should grow every month. It should grow every year. For this reason, therefore, those who dwell on earth shall be tormented, because though they had understanding, hold on, let me highlight this part right here. For this reason, this is the reason of the judgment. If you want to know, here's the answer. You want to know why we get judgment? Here's the answer right here in verse 72. For this reason, therefore, those who dwell on the earth shall be tormented, right? Cast into the lake of fire, be tormented for everlasting life, because though they had understanding, meaning you understand and you know right from wrong, you know the law, statute, and commandments. They had understanding. They committed iniquity. They committed sin anyway. And though they received the commandments, they did not keep them. They did not keep them. They cast them off. And though they obtained the law, they dealt unfaithfully with what they received. See, a lot of people cast it off like it's simple. Oh, that's the Mosaic law. It's easy for people to say because they put it on who? Moses. They don't put it on the Most High. Notice that. They never put it on the Most High. They put it on who? Moses. That's the first thing they tell. Oh, that's Moses' law.
Why they don't ask them? I don't understand why they even do that, because it's like, well, where do you think Moses got it from?
Because it's just what they call that dang, what's the word I was looking for? Like a reflection, not a reflection, but a to reflect, you know, to deflect. I'm saying to deflect something, and they throw it on Moses, because you can't put it on the Most High, because then you will be saying you're going against the Most High, and the Most High changed his mind.
Well, he's not there after confusion.
Correct.
Never changed his mind.
Correct. So they know they can't go that way. So for them to weasel out of it,
it's scapegoat.
It's scapegoat, Khan. It's easier for them to what? Use than a scapegoat, Khan.
Right. That's crazy.
It's easier for them to put it on who? Moses. And say Moses, that's Moses' law. And this is why he says right here that they dealt what? Unfaithfully with what they had received. It's the same thing for us today. It's the same thing for us today. If anybody is out there and you casting off completely the word of the Most High and telling people and teaching people like some Israelites do, especially that one Israelite that like to pour Pepsi on his ham because it gives him more flavor and he celebrates the holiday. You know that one that I saw you?
One that you showed me?
Yeah. Yeah, killing Thanksgiving. He got his ham. He had ham in the greens and
yeah, that don't make no sense.
And they Israelites, and he said that, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. So there are Israelites out there who do such a thing. And that are what? Dealing unfaithfully with what they receive. That's dealing unfaithfully. Let me move on. Verse 73. What then will they have to say in the judgment? What can you say? Like I said earlier, you can't point the finger at anybody. You know, we're all adults now. You can't point the finger. What will they have to say in the judgment, or how will they answer in the last times? Verse 74, for how long? The time is that the Most High has been patient with those who inhabited the world, and not for their sake, but because of the times which he has foreordained. Meaning all of the time that we have is already ordained. Just like your death is ordained, the day you're going to die, the judgment that you have, everything is already ordained. I think I'm here teaching on this Shabbat day because it's me. But no, it's already ordained for me to do this. It's already ordained. Like the Most High already knew I was going to do this on this day. He knew what I'm going to do tomorrow. He know what I'm going to do the next day. He know the fight. He know the struggle. He know the things that I go through. But he keep telling me in the Rikah, don't give up. Keep fighting a good fight. Don't you know that that's what a fight is? Anybody who gets into a ring and they fighting, if a person just crawl up on the floor and don't hit back and they just on the floor and they not doing nothing and they just taking all of the punches, what do we call them? Was that a good fight? Was that a good fight? No. You'll turn the channel. But if a person get in that ring, even though they losing, they in the 5th round, they in the 6th round, their eye is busted, they bleeding, they lip, their tooth is knocked out, but they say, you ready to go? You gonna keep going? They say, I'm keep going. The only one that can call out the fight is who? The corner or the referee. But the person didn't call it. Somebody else stepped in and said, you know what? That's enough. They can't take no more. That's enough. But one thing we can say about that individual, when that fight is over, the person even who lost, what we gonna say? Man, he didn't give up and he fought a good fight. I mean, he lost, but man, oh man, he took a beating. But he didn't give up. That's fighting the good fight. Not to throw in the towel, not to give up. We already know it's going to be trials. We already know it's going to be tribulations. We already know it's going to be things that you're going to go through, ups and downs and sides. And we know that. but don't throw in the towel. Verse 75. And I answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O Yahweh, show this also to thy servant. Here it is. Now we're going to get in. We already spoke about the judgment. Now we're going to get into the resurrection, right? We spoke about the judgment. Now we're going to get into the resurrection. Whether after death, here it is. As soon as every one of us yields up his soul, we shall be kept in rest until those times come when thou will renew the creation, or whether we should be tormented at once. So like Ezra want to know, are we going to go into torment right away, or are we going to have a period of time, right? Verse 76, and he answered me and said, I will show you that also, but do not be associated with those who have shown scorn, nor number yourself among those who will be what? Tormented. So don't look at your life and don't look at yourself as those who will be tormented, or who have shown scorn, meaning to despise the Most High, cast him away, cast his things off. Verse 77, for you have treasure, Salakia, for you have a treasure of works laid up with the Most High, but it will not be shown to you until the later times. So the Most High is letting you know, hey, you got treasures, Ezra, laid up. Isn't this why the Bible tells us don't store up treasure here on earth, but store up treasures where? In the Shemayim. Now here it is. I'm going to highlight this whole thing to verse 78. Now concerning death, the teaching is this. When the device decree has gone forth from the Most High that a man shall die, and the Rakah leaves the body to return again to him who gave it, first, all is Salakia. First of all, it adores the glory of the Most High. So first of all, nobody just dies on this earth on accident, right? The day you die or something happens or you die that day, the decree came from the Most High that you were going to die that day, that particular time. And then after that decree goes forth, it says that the Rakah leaves the body and return to him who him gave it, right? The Most High gave us that Rakah, that spirit. It says first thing he does is adores the glory of the Most High. So that's the first thing that will happen when you die. You will adore the glory of the Most High. Verse 79. It says then in 79, and if it's one of those who have showed scorn and have not kept the way of the Most High, and who have despised his law, and who have hated those that fear, look, and who have hated those who fear the Most High. You don't want to be one of these people, the ones who have shown scorn and despise his law, which is a multitude. Verse 80, it says, such Rakahs shall not enter into the habitations, but shall immediately, let me highlight it so you can see it, shall immediately wander about in torment, ever grieving and sad in 7 ways. The first way, because they have scorned the law of the Most High. The second way, because they cannot now make a good repentance that they may live. Now you can't even repent for the stuff you don't did. The third way, they shall see the reward laid up for those who have trusted the covenants of the Most High. So you're gonna see if you in torment like that, like the parable of the rich man and the beggar, when he was able to see him, Lazarus on the other side, he was in Abraham's bosom in the parable. He was like, can you just dip your finger in the water and just put a little drip on my tongue? This is what it's going into, that he was able to see that reward that was laid up for him, right? Verse 84, the fourth way, they shall consider the torment laid up for themselves in the last days. The fifth way, they shall see the habitations of the others are guarded by the Malaks in profound quiet. The sixth way, Salakia. The sixth way, they shall see how some of them will pass over into torment. The seventh way, let me highlight the seventh way. The seventh way, which is sworn that all the ways that have been mentioned are Salakia, not sworn, worse than all the ways that have been mentioned, because they shall utterly waste away in confusion and be consumed with shame and shall wither with fear as seeing the glory of the Most High, before whom they sinned while they were alive, and before whom they are to be judged in the last times. So this is what will happen after death when you die to the ones who despise the Most High laws, who cast off the Most High, who show scorn to the Most High. This is what will happen to those individuals. Now we'll get into the people who love the Most High and fought the good fight for the Most High. Verse 88, Verse 88. Now this is the order of those who have kept the ways of the Most High, when they shall be separated from their mortal bodies, during the time that they lived in it. They laboriously served the Most High, withstood danger every hour, that they might keep the law of the lawgiver perfectly. Therefore, this is the teaching concerning them. First of all, they shall see great joy and glory of him who receives them. For they shall have rest in 7 orders. The first order, because they have striven with great effort. This is what I mean. You got to endure to the end. Because they have because they have striven with great effort to overcome the evil thought which is formed within them. We have evil within us, that it might not lead them astray, life into death. The second order, because they see perplexly, if I'm saying that right, perplexly, right, in which the souls of the ungodly wonder, and the punishment that awaits them. So you can see the punishment that awaits the ungodly. You can see on the other side. The third order, they see the witness which he who formed them bears concerning them, that while they were alive, they kept the law which was given them in trust. The fourth order, they understood the rest which they now enjoy, being gathered into the chambers and guarded by the Malaks in profound quiet, and the glory which awaits them in the last days. The fifth order, they rejoice that they have now escaped the corruptible and shall inherit what is to come. And besides, they see the straits and the toils from which they have been delivered. They got all this freedom now, right? They know what they have been delivered from, which they have, or Salakia, which they are to receive and enjoy in immortality. The sixth order, when it is shown to them how their faces is to shine like the sun, like Moses' face was shining, right? Where the people couldn't stand it. How they are to be made like the light of stars, being incorruptible from then on. You ain't got to worry about dying no more. The seventh order, which is greater, let me highlight that real quick, which is greater than all that have been mentioned, because they shall rejoice with boldness and shall be confident without confusion and shall be glad without fear. For they have hastened to behold the face of him whom they served in life, from whom they are to receive their reward when glorified. This is the order. This is the orders of the souls of the righteous, and henceforth is announced. And the aforesaid are the ways of torment, meaning the things that I just said prior before all this are the ways of torment, which those who would not give heed shall suffer hereafter. You don't take heed to the law, statute, and commandments. You keep saying, hey, Paul told me and Peter told me I could eat pork, crab, shrimp, lobster. Paul told me that the law is done away with, that's the latter. We in the new. Hey, okay. Keep saying that. You don't want to take heed? It says you're going to suffer hereafter. Verse 100. I answered and said, what time, therefore, be given to the souls after they have separated from their bodies to see what you have described? He said to me, there shall be freedom for 7 days, so that during these 7 days they may see the things of which you have been told, and afterwards they shall be gathered into their habitations. Now, where you gonna be at, I don't know. You know, what part you gonna be in, I don't know. Verse 102. I answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, show further to me thy servant, whether on the day of judgment the righteous will be able to intercede for the ungodly, or to entreat the Most High for them, fathers for sons, for parents, brothers and for brothers, relatives for their kinsmen and friends. Meaning, can you stand up and try to jump in the middle of that because that's your daughter and she finna get judged, or she getting judged, and you know she finna get cast into that lake of fire, or he gonna get cast into that lake of fire, where whoever it is, let's say your brother, your parents, you know, can I jump in and intercede for him? He answered, verse 104, he answered and said, since you have found favor in my sight, I will show you this also. The day of judgment is divisive and displays to all the seal of truth. Truth. Just as now a father does not send his son, or a son his father, or a master his servant, or a friend his dearest friend, to be ill or sleep or eat or be held in his place or instead. So no, here's your answer. Can you stand up for your mama, your daddy, or whoever on the day of judgment? No. So no one shall ever pray for one another on that day, neither shall any lay a burden on another. For then everyone shall bear his own righteousness and unrighteousness. So this tells you what's going to happen. You read it over again. You can listen to it again. This tells you what happens after you die, right? In your judgment. Hopefully this helps you in some type of way. Khan, he says, Dorothy said that was sheer craziness. You said Khan says, and then says he got a heart. And then Chapter Man says watching everyone else have recess while in detention. Khan. So that's just a little insight. Like I say, you know, well, not a little insight. That's a lot of insight through the Spirit, through the Rakah, the Most High, and Ezra, the prophet, delivering to us what will happen to us when we die, whether good or bad. The first thing that you will see is, or adore, I should say, is the glory of the Most High, right? And then it says after that, you know, you will be tormented. You're gonna go right into it. You're gonna know. You know, or on the other side, you will see the glory of the Most High, and basically, like, you know, you will be covered. You will feel that presence of the Most High, and He will guide you. We went over the 7 steps. So hopefully, like I say, this message was edifying for you. Hopefully, it was something that you could really soak in, take in. I know we went over a lot today, more than usual, but I felt like it needed to come out, right? And hopefully, like I said, it was edifying. With that being said, we're going to say Shabbat Shalawam, Kwam Yasharala, the water for everybody tuning in all across the world, 4 corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you, and may you enjoy this beautiful rest of your Shabbat day. I say Kwam Yasharala. Anybody got anything before we close out?
Kwam Yasharala.
She says Kwam Yasharala. He says Kwam Yasharala. Anybody else? Even on the screen, she says Shabbat Shalawam, Mashkapa, Kahallah, Yahawah, Shama, Mashiach, Yahushai, Barakatham, right? Chapter Man says Shabbat Shalawam, right? Anybody else?
Sister Dorothy said, excellent class. The water, have a barak day.
Khan. All praises. The water for tuning in, Aqua Dorothy. And if anybody that's in the chat or comes across this at a later time, if you feel that this message was edifying and that it may help someone as far as the judgment and as far as the resurrection and what happens to the dead after they die and when they rise, right? Make sure to share this and send it out. It doesn't help to have the knowledge and just have it in our mind and not share it, or just have it on your channel or your video, or share the gospel, share the message to edify our people, to bring them up. Right now, it's a great shaking, as it said in Ezekiel, that our dry bones are waking up, right? And he's putting that flesh on us, and he's putting that spirit in us, the Rakah. So with that being said,
Chapter 9 said, always a pleasure to fellowship and delight in scriptures. The water.
God, same here, chapter man. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. It's always good to see you in the chat, following along and being here as an ambassador, as someone for Hamashiach Yahushua. Same thing with the Ahchwathyam and same thing with the Ahchyam. Like I tell you all the time, you may say, hey, this guy is doing the lesson or this or that, but we have one teacher, which is Hamashiach Yahushua. Everything comes through the knowledge of the Most High, through him, through the Rakah. So the only way I'm able to deliver this is through the Rakah, through the spirit, you know. And believe it or not, you guys are a part of this lesson with all the things that you put on here, all of the scriptures, all of the verses, all of the comments that are being shown. It helps people get an understanding and see a viewpoint, not only from my way, not only from my viewpoint, but from others too. So that's a beautiful thing. Aqua Dorothy says, Khan, I have decided to start showing or sharing on X. What does it say? On X?
On X. I don't know what that is.
Not sure what that is, but share it.
Twitter.
Who? Twitter?
Twitter.
Okay, Twitter. The sign says X is Twitter. So share it. Do all you could possibly do to share it. All you could possibly do. Let me, this is the last one. I always got to close out one. We're going to go real quick. Romans 10. And this is the last verse of the day. Romans 10, verse 14. And this is why I say it's not just me. It's all of us that's on here. All 5 people that I just seen that was on here. It's all of us bringing forth the gospel, right? Verse 14, Romans 10 and 14, it says, how then shall they call on him whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe on him, of whom they have not heard? Or how shall they hear without a preacher? So we need that. We need that preacher. We need that shepherd. We need that man of the Most High to get up on the Shabbat and go bring forth a lesson. We need that Ahchwathyam to holler at her sisters and let her know, hey, Ahchwat, this, send her that, send her this verse. We need that to happen. Verse 15, how shall they preach, right? Like I said, yeah, you may think it's me to get up on the Shabbat and do this, or on all those other days that I get up and do that. Is it me? Look at me. Can you see my face? Is it me? No, it's not. It said, how shall they preach except they've been sent? I didn't know what I was sent into the earth for. But now I understand. I was sent here to do this. As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings and good tidings. But they have not all obeyed the gospel, as it says. I'll stop right there. Once again, Shabbat Shalawam. All praises be to the Father, Yahawah, and his only begotten Son, Hamashiach Yahushua. With that, we say, Kwam Yasharallah.
Kwam Yasharallah.
Shalawam.